Bears country. Where is it?
Hello, everyone, on draft. I should say the schedule release night. No, we've all been anticipating this because we want to see what's going on with the schedule, what games we can go to, when Chris Watts can get out here with his GoFundMe that we've set up for him. So me personally, guys, I am happy that we are not going overseas because I just don't like when that happens. I feel like it's a drain on the players, and it makes it harder for us to win, and it seems like we usually lose. That might be wrong, but it just seems like it. So, guys, man, how are you guys doing tonight? Thanks for joining us again, man. Everybody here tonight.
Doing well. It is DJ Foster.
We've got
what's good?
Triple R is over on Swifties Network right now, hanging out with him. He'll be back here in just a moment. And then J2K might hop over there to hang out with him for a minute. Foster and I were over there. PJ was over there. So, yeah, man, we're Swifty's an awesome dude. So it's nice getting to talk with him. I thought the schedule actually wasn't coming out until 8 o'clock. So when I went over on his channel, I felt like an idiot because I didn't know what the schedule was. But
yeah, it was 8 o'clock Eastern. Yeah.
You know what?
Somebody got Swifty's show on because that's all I can hear through everything you're saying is Triple R.
Could be. What do you guys feel about them not having to go overseas?
I'm happy. I'm like you, man. This is just not the time for it. We got to get this team together. They don't need any more distractions. There's already enough, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's time, and I'll bring that up later. I was going to just quote Alan Williams, but it's time to get this thing going from the ground up. We started this a year ago. We don't need this distraction right now, so I'm happy that we're not going over there, you know.
Mm-hmm. I am too. But we should acknowledge the chat here. Marcus, thanks for joining us tonight. Mr. Mayhem, thank you for joining us tonight. Cliff, where's the meatloaf, man? Oops, sorry, you run that shit, Foster. Doug Van Dorn, I have too many streams open. Cliff, Tampa tickets for flying off the board. Managed to snag a couple of my wife is psyched. That is awesome, man. That's too early in the season for me to be down there, but damn, that would have been fun to go to the Bucs game if it was later in the season. Anyway, around the horn, J2K, how are you doing tonight, man?
Oh, I'm doing well. And to answer your question, I actually liked the idea of going overseas because that's a home game for the Chiefs. But Bears are popular over there. So I could have seen that being kind of a split or even possibly a home crowd for us.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
We'll be there next year.
Yeah.
Right.
Leo Factor, what's up? Mo Beerman, Chips Ahoy boy. Thanks for joining us, man. How do you feel about that, PJ?
I feel I'm kind of like with you and Foster. I kind of like the fact that we're not going over there based on the fact that it seems like we don't always play our best. And then when we come back, seem like we're not up to speed so far and ready to go. So, yeah, I agree with J2K. Yeah, we do have a good fan base over there. But our actual playing over there, or it could have been the fact that we actually, when we played the Raiders, we were like, we flew over there late. I think we flew over there like the day before, something crazy like that probably messed us up. But yeah, I just don't like, I don't like that. It seems like it throws off their whole rhythm and their whole timing to where not only do we mess up in that game, it seems like we mess up the game after too.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, I think we all got a little PTSD from that Raiders game.
Right.
They pretty much thumped us.
Yeah.
I have PTSD from just about every Raiders game. I thought that we had a losing record against them, but we're actually tied 8-8 in the series. So the next winner wins. They're gonna lead the series of us. Hard to believe we've only played each other 16 times, but It seems like every time we play the Raiders, it's just a weird game. Like the last time it was overseas, and they just shut down Khalil Mack. And I remember being a kid watching him play the Raiders, and it felt like there was a penalty. It was like the Bears had like 24 penalties, and the Raiders had one or something ridiculous like that. I'm over exaggerating, but it's every time the Bears did something good in that game, it got overturned. And I just remember being like 15 years old, and just however old I was, and just being that upset about that game. And it seems like every game is kind of like that. So I keep playing the Raiders.
I think the issue for me was more so the way Nagy really handled that last game, because it was a game that we should have won. And it seemed like the way he went about doing everything that week was just off for me. It's like, dude, what are you doing? So, yeah, I'm glad those days are behind us with his, let me create this super play that I don't think nobody can ever defend. Although I never practice it, I'm going to sit there and put it out there for the guys to do.
The Oompa Loompa.
Right. It's like, dude.
And hey, Dan, was that game you were talking about when you were 15? Was the Raiders quarterback Vince Evans?
No,
I don't know if you remember or not.
No,
I thought we played a game against the Raiders when they had a quarterback, Vince Evans, who was on the Bears.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if that was that game, but that was a game I remember from like my childhood too.
Yes. Yes.
So that game, I didn't realize that. So if I was 15, that would have been like late 80s. Was Vince? Man, he might have been the quarterback of that team.
He was on the Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that game. I remember that game exactly, J2K.
Yeah.
What's up, Triple R?
What's up, gentlemen? How's it going, fellas? How's it going?
Hey, Trips.
Good, man.
Foster remembers when they created the car.
PJ, I just read an article that you were playing dice for Christ Robes.
Damn, wait.
Are you guys both like the same damn age?
Yeah. Pretty much. You got me by a little bit there.
But look at all that white hair on him. See, I don't have that much white hair.
That's true.
Oh, here's a funny story real quick. So my buddy's watching our show from last week, and I happened to show him the show. He's like, he goes, who's this old fucking saying all this fucking shit? What's he fucking going off about? I'm like, who are you talking about? Like one of my best friends. We live together. We work together. I'm like, dude, that's fucking me. He goes, oh my God, you look terrible. I said, well, I lived with you and I've known you for 40 years. That would explain some of it. So, Joe Mysek, I know you're listening tonight because I know after yesterday's conversation, you son of a bitch. Sorry. No offense, Mrs. Mysek.
Triple R. Foster remembers when they created fire.
I created
it.
Triple R, man, what do you think about the Bears playing overseas? Are you glad that they didn't get that game?
Man, I don't know. I was just dipped over real quick with Swifty on the Swift Sports Network, and he's going to be over in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about the schedule briefly, but didn't talk about the travel aspect of it. And now from the fan aspect, I'm not really mad because those foreign games be on different hours and it'd be fucking with me.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the player aspect, I'm not mad because they don't have to, do that traveling and have that wear and tear of that, extra unnecessary headache.
Mm-hmm.
But these Thursday night games, I don't know, because that's not enough days in between what they have to put their bodies through to be playing again. Travel is one thing that can be dealt with, but the close proximity of these back-to-back games is too damn dangerous, in my opinion.
What do you think?
I agree.
That just kind of gave me an idea. What would the NFL would be? Well, it might not. Well, it might work if they made a Saturday game and they had the teams that were playing on the following Thursday play on a Saturday instead of a Sunday. Give them an extra day of rest.
They don't want to interfere with college football.
That's what I was
Right,
thinking.
you know, you messing with that college football money, and they don't play that.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, I think they're contracted to like not play on Saturdays until college is just about done. Same with
Right.
Friday. They can't play on Fridays because of high school football.
Oh,
And that's a contractual agreement.
okay. That makes sense then.
man.
We were talking about the Raiders too when you popped in, Triple R, and about just how odd those games are. And in the last one that they played overseas, I believe that being correct, they only had like a day from when they got there, and they played like a day later or 2 days later, whereas they didn't have a few days to recover from jet lag and practice and stuff. So that's another reason why I worry about those games. I don't think they do that anymore, but I think they did that the last time the Bears played there. Could be wrong, but I think that's you guys mentioned it.
Yeah, I think one of the benefits to Triple R's point is because we have a good rotation, it won't be as much wear on tear like we would have like where players playing the whole game. But because of, defense wise, offensive wise, yeah, those linemen play the whole game still. But I think that'd be one thing that could benefit us.
I agree. So we have the schedule here. We might as well pull it up here and talk about it.
So I did want to point out, since we're talking about travel, I did read somewhere that said that we have the second least travel miles of any team this year, schedule-wise.
Good.
And we're tied with the least amount of time zone changes. So it looks like a pretty doable, I wouldn't say it's an easy schedule because you never know.
Right.
But it looks like it's relatively light compared to last season.
Manageable.
Yeah, manageable.
Yeah.
And then you add into the factor that, we're not traveling as far. I think that's a huge bonus.
I agree. I'll say this. I think, the fact that we have nine road games this year, because the AFC is the one with the home games this year. So we got 9 road games. And then there was a tough stretch we got where we're playing 4 out of our 5 away games. So that's going to be a tough stretch. I ain't saying that necessarily the team's going to be all that tough, but just to play 4 out of 5 weeks on the road is going to be kind of tough.
That is going to be tough. That is always tough. I had a very strange feeling that they were going to give us Green Bay first this year.
Seems like they always do that, though.
Yeah, that's probably why I had a very strange feeling about it.
Strange, normal feeling.
But my mind went to they're going to want to pump up this Jordan Love, Justin Fields new rivalry thing,
Hey, Swifty's in the chat. What's up, Swifty?
What is up, Swifty? Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for having us on your show tonight, Swifty. You, man.
Truly respect, man. Thank you.
Much respect, much love. So, Green Bay, week 1 at home.
Go ahead, Foster.
What do you think about that?
Say it again, Dan.
Green Bay, week 1 at home. What do you think about that?
Schedule was made. You know what? I'm kind of happy that, because now we're going to see Jordan Love against Justin Fields, Packers Bears.
Yeah.
So what's that going to be? And there, you know what? I got to pause because all these years that every time you hear Green Bay coming to Chicago and you cringe,
Mm-hmm.
I hope I don't ever have to do that again, man. I really I can't wait to see preseason and what we shake out to be, because I don't know how to even judge that game, man. I got a feeling that the Bears that's a W for the Bears, because they're here. Wouldn't that be sweet if we could start the season by beating the Packers at Soldier Field?
Yes, it would be.
That'd be just a huge start and such an uplifting. We need to be prepared for this, and we need to just be on our game and do the things with the players we've acquired. It's going to be a lot better than last year, man. I said that last week. It's got to be a lot better, and it's going to be a lot better.
I'll let you guys go.
I'm going to right now go out. I'll say the Bears win by 9 on that first game. Insane because I know nothing, but.
Mm-hmm.
Who's up?
You're up. Go ahead, Triple R.
All right. Well, let's start off the season in 2023 the right way by ripping off the Band-Aid and facing these goddamn Packers. Now, granted, it's minus Aaron Rodgers, but whatever. It's not the Green Bay Aaron Rodgers. It's the Green Bay Packers. And now it's the Jordan Love era. And let's hope some of these new D linemen get some of that, fresh young love. Pause. But let's hope they getting that ass the way that gays wouldn't approve of.
Yeah.
Get in there because we will have that young exuberance. The Packers won't have film on the defense yet to know what's coming, what's expected. That hot new, secondary is going to be flying around every place. All these D linemen are going to be flying around. Love is going to have his first time in the game, and he's going to just and the Bears going to get in that ass. Next.
Well said, PJ or Triple R. You're up next, PJ.
I'm wondering whether or not it's going to be like Trey Lance was his first game with San Francisco against us last year. I think him being the man, he's going to be a little bit nervous. What are you doing, Foster?
I missed it. I was looking away.
I ended up with the squeaky chair, so I was trying to switch the chair out without going.
I thought you was trying to pull out some fish bites.
I was making sure it wasn't the same. I got the right chair. Sorry.
I thought you was pulling out some fish bites. I don't know. But anyway, all right.
No spaghetti, though. No spaghetti.
It's fish chips. It's mastacholi anyways, man. Sorry.
So I think that, it'll be a very winnable game for us. I'm curious to see whether or not we just jump on them from the start. Just jump on them and force Jordan Love to have to throw the ball to where they can get out of that game plan of wanting to run it and then do the play action pass, for us to get him in a position where he has to try to win it with his arms. And I think we have a good enough secondary to take advantage of that.
Okay. J2K?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. One thing I would point out is I do think Green Bay's defense is really good. And I think they're going to protect Love in that first game. And like Leo Factor said, it's going to be loud in our stadium. Yeah. So I could see them running the ball a lot, trying to contain Fields as much as they can. I think it might actually be kind of a slugfest because generally in the first 3 to 4 games, the passing offense isn't always clicking for a lot of teams. You kind of have some teams that they figured it out early, but other teams catch on. Sometimes teams start out slow. They just don't have that connection yet. So I think it'll be a close game. I would say we pull out the win, but I'm not overly optimistic because I do think Green Bay has a very good defense.
Yeah, that's where my trepidation comes in, is the defense. And I remember having a huge sigh of relief when Brett Favre fucked off and Aaron Rodgers took over, the guy that I laughed my ass off at when they drafted him because I thought he was going to be a complete bust. And I just I worry about thinking that way again. So naturally, I think it's out of habit to have this trepidation that, my God, if this next regime of quarterback if their plan of what they do with sitting quarterbacks for that period of time and then letting them go when their Hall of Famer retires works again on this guy, that's going to make me, all of us, completely sick to our stomach, right? So the trepidation I do have is that, man, I hope that this guy is not. We did see that the games he played in last year with the new receivers, he seemed to almost build a better chemistry with Christian Watson than Aaron Rodgers did. That kind of worries me. And they do have a good defense, J2K. And Love has been in that system for quite a while now, whereas now we're just seeing, Justin Fields in the same system for 2 years, or going into his second year in a row, and now he's got to develop the chemistry with his new receivers and stuff. The Claypool thing will be nice because they already had half the season to work on that. DJ Moore, I believe they will get there. Somebody asked earlier, how long do we think it'll take chemistry to build? And I think, last year I thought right out of the gates we would have him because nobody would know what our offense was like, so they wouldn't know how to defend it, and we would come out of the gates winning a few games that we shouldn't have won. And technically against the Niners, we kind of did. But I think we're going to win this Packers game. I really do. I'm hesitant to say that because I'm so jaded by this whole, almost 3 decades of Hall of Fame quarterback play.
Yeah,
I don't think we got to worry about it this year. I think they're tanking for Wemby.
Maybe. I don't know. I was going to say, Swifty, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head that we can't just assume that Jordan Love is garbage.
Right.
He's been sitting on the bench for a little while, and he played well in the games he played in last year. Seemed to develop that chemistry.
I don't think he's garbage, but I don't think he's the type of player right now to carry a team on his back. So that's why I was saying if we can jump on them early and force him to become one-dimensional, I think we can then take advantage of that.
I like that. Let's get on to week 2. So then we're at the Buccaneers. What do the Buccaneers have at quarterback now?
Mayfield, right? Baker.
And Trask.
Yeah.
I'm not as down on Baker as everybody else is.
No. But
I think he's a good vet quarterback.
Yeah, he's not that terrible, but he's also learning a new system again. So by this point in the season, is this a win almost? I think that's a win. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would say it's an easy matchup.
Yeah.
I thought we was going in order. Are we not going in order?
Oh yeah, we should go in order. Go ahead, Foster.
No, we're the Tampa game.
Yeah.
I think I'm marking. I've already got that as a win in my book. So, didn't we talk about this? Because it's in Tampa. I think the biggest factor first is going to be dealing with the heat. Are the guys conditioned properly? It's early in the season, so we might. I mean, it should still be pretty warm when you get down there in week 2 of the season, man. It's going to be warm. I remember seeing games all from like the 70s throughout where we'd go to Tampa Bay and it'd be all in September or even October, and it'd be 102 degrees on the field and everybody's dying. So I got us winning. I'm just worried, and we did talk about this. I'm worried about the heat factor with this game. That's about it, really.
Triple R?
Trips?
Yeah, I will say that I went to a game a few years back in Jacksonville early in the season, and the humidity, oh my God. So anything in Florida in August, September is going to be a battle to stay hydrated. But seeing how that Buccaneer team is in a flux, the defense is getting kind of old. They lost White, the linebackers, so they're in a little turmoil. Their offense, who knows what the hell that's going to look like. Trask, are we really afraid of him? Are we really afraid of Baker? So I see the Bears taking that
one. My thoughts are, 1, Baker being in the new offense. 2, them having a new offensive coordinator who got to try to figure out what he's doing with the players he has. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about Todd Bowles being a head coach. I mean, I thought he's a good or great, good defensive coordinator, but head coach wise, jury's still out in my opinion. So yeah, the heat will be a factor, but it's a little bit cooler than it is than what Miami offers. Miami's heat is different than Tampa Bay's heat. So I would say that's a win for me. Might be a close game though. I don't expect us to really blow them out, but for the reasons I stated, so that's now 2 wins for me so far.
Me too. JTK?
Yeah, I think I'm not as I don't know, excited about this game as a win. I do think Baker learns offenses pretty quickly. He's been through a lot of offensive coordinators. When he did play for the Rams, I think it was like less than 2 days with a playbook. And then he came in and, I mean, he balled out. So, granted, I think the team's kind of like on that downward slope where they're aging, and I don't know how much they filled up over the offseason. So I could see that as a win. Yeah, and the heat, I think, is an issue, but comparatively to what you were saying in Miami, that Miami stadium is actually built where the away team is in the sun.
Yeah.
And they designed that intentionally. I almost think that's a little unfair, to be honest. So, whatever. But I would call this a W.
Cool.
So are we all at 2-0 then?
I think so.
Okay. I just to add to that, definitely Miami is. I don't even know how anyone could play for Miami. It is so disgusting down there as far as the humidity. It's just like my friends live in the Keys and I visit them, and it's January and I'm melting. So I couldn't even imagine what it would be like in July or August or September, so but what you both were saying, or what you guys were saying, is that I think earlier in the season going down to Tampa, because we still have some humidity and warm air up in Chicago, that I think that's better served in the beginning of the season. If they go down there in December, I'd be a lot more worried about that game at that point.
I don't think it would be that bad in December down there.
Me neither. I go the other way with you.
That's true, because it is definitely better than Miami. But the Bears lost when they were 13-0 in '85 to Miami.
Yep.
Yeah,
Down
that
in
was
that-
a rainy night though.
That's
I don't
true.
think that had much to do with the weather. That was more so the quick passes.
That was
Dan Marino.
just
Yeah.
That was what Buddy being real stubborn and not changing his defense up is a lot of what that was. If you go back and look at that game,
Yeah,
Ditka begged them to.
they had a
Tried to
really
get him.
good defensive game plan for that.
Yeah. Hey, what was it
Or
like when
offensive game plan, for that defense.
what was it like when Hallis coached there, Foster?
Well, you want 1921 or 1952? Which year?
Different coach, right?
You were there for both. I was trying to figure out
It
which one.
matters.
We won a lot of damn
Oh.
games until about 63, and then we started having a real problem where we couldn't win shit. There's your answer.
That was his last championship, wasn't it? 1963.
That was the last change. Wait, 61 was the Blackhawks. 63 was the Bears' last championship till 85.
Yeah. Was
And
it,
if you
was
look
that
at
game-
if you
was that
look at the
game crowded?
history, really from about 1921 to 1920 to 1952, Bears were king that whole time.
Yeah.
We're up there every season. But
And
after that,
I think we only won one championship per decade, though. During
no,
that time.
go look at the 40s. You better go look at the 1940s before you say that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we was only
I
winning
know there's
about
at
one
least
championship.
3
30s,
championships in the
late
40s.
30s, early 40s too, going into that.
But the team, if you go back literally from 21 and you look at their record, go look at the records because they're right there. Almost every season they were a potential playoff team, if not a playoff team.
Well, they only had about 8 teams in the league then, dude, right?
No, you need to go back and look. Go back
that's-
and vote. There was a time, I think there was like 26 teams in the NFL in the 30s or the 40s. Go back and there's a
Well, that's
video
what
on
I'm
the history of the NFL. There was so many teams, it's ridiculous.
That's why I was asking you, man, because I know you was there. I was wondering what the ticket prices was like.
2 cents, a nickel. My favorite team was the Columbus Yellow Jackets. It's a real team, man. They played in the NFL for one season or 3/4 of a season, I think, and folded.
Oh man.
There's a lot of teams. Go back on YouTube. There's a video, the history of NFL teams.
Mhm.
Go watch it. It's about 35 minutes, man.
The point is, the Bears
take
have,
you from 1920 to present with every single team and where they played.
the Bears have the second most championships in the NFL next to the Packers. Championships.
Yes.
And it pisses me off that they started doing this Super Bowl after the merger, and then that's when the Packers started getting good, and they named the damn trophy after Lombardi. Like, come on.
So how many?
They should have named it after Hallis just for the fact.
How many championships does the Bears have?
I think 8, and I think the Packers have 9 or 11. It might be 1 or 2 more than the. Let's see. All-time NFL championships.
We should probably say hi to the chat or get back into the schedule.
Yeah, so let's bring up the next game, Kansas City. You guys think that Kansas City is a beatable game here in Kansas City?
I think we're going to learn a lot of things about this team in that game, and I'm not going to mark it down as a win. That'll be a nice test for the Bears to see where they stand, especially in week 3, because they'll get a good gauge early on what this whole year's been about. You know, when we go through the minis and then into training camp and everything in preseason. By week 3, you count the preseason games plus training camp. They should have a pretty good idea what they're going to be doing. I mean, I'm not saying everything's going to be all perfect, but they should have a pretty decent idea what they're capable of after those first 2 games. And I don't see them winning this, but I think it's one of those games where we keep it to 1 score, maybe 9 points at the most. Because we're gonna be in a lot more of those games this year, like last year, but I think we're gonna win a lot more of them. Yeah. This one is just it's about gauging this Bears team is where it's at this early in the rebuild. It'll be a good team to gauge where we are at. I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it real simple. Trips.
Triple R.
Trips.
I'm thinking flat out Kansas City right now would kick this Bears team's ass. But the hangover of coming off what they're coming over and the cockiness that they have of just being able to turn it on when it's time to win, I can see Kansas City, being sleepwalking through the first half of the season. Whereas knowing that going up against the defending Super Bowl champs is a good litmus test to see where your team is, that every team, Bears included, will be geared up to give, their best efforts. And so I could see, the Chiefs sleepwalking through it and the Bears going like, hey, rah, rah, and giving their best game and winning it out. But realistically, their offense is far more superior. Their defense, even with new pieces, retooling, is more experienced and gets more pressure. So I see that as a Chiefs win.
Mm-hmm. J2K?
Yeah, I think Chiefs win. I think it's going to be a game that's much like Miami game last year, where we were in that game, but we just couldn't stop them at all. And they just constantly were leading the game. Even though we would catch up, we'd get close, they would just go down and score on us. So I see that as similar to KC. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Fields will play well, and he's kind of my X factor for the whole season. But I just don't think we can keep up with their scoring ability.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. Not very many teams can, even the best of them can't. So I have that as a loss too. So I think we're all at 3-1 now. I kind of like to know what you guys in chat think. You guys think we're going to beat? Are you guys with us? Are we 2-1 right now?
Did PJ get a chance to voice?
I'm sorry, you did not, PJ. I apologize.
That's all right. Shorty Flex forgetting about me.
I pulled up a different screen so I couldn't see you guys, and I forgot what order you were in.
He'll call me and talk on the phone to me for like 8 hours, but now he don't want to talk to me on the air, so that's all right.
No, PJ, his red
You are
light just just went on from polls because you just called him, right?
So, you know, I had to let him know.
Yeah, see, I talked to you for like 18 hours the other day, so I don't need to talk to you right now. All right, so moving on to the next. PJ's the guy I always pull out. That's your thing.
KC, I think that's going to be our first game that we're playing the afternoon game, the later game. So I think that's probably be a little bit of an adjustment for us. Being on the road in Kansas City with that crowd. I hate to say it, but yeah, I don't see it too much as a win for us. I think it's going to be, and Mahomes still playing with that chip on his shoulder as well. So it's going to be a tough one.
I agree. I think we're all at 2-1 right now. What did you guys chat? I'd love to know what you think. We're all 2-1 right now. Can we all agree on that?
I think I seen this one in the chat. It was Swifty. He said, "F you, Dan."
Oh, I got him on his own show though. He's gonna hop in with the link I sent him just to get me back though. That fucker. I know he will. All right.
So we all got the Bears 2-1 so far.
Yeah, 2-1. Yep. So here's another game that kind of worries me is the Broncos. That's another game. It kind of put that in the same category as the Raiders. Whenever we play them, it's just, I don't know, like that Tim Tebow game where I forget his name, the running back ran out of bounds when he shouldn't have at the end of the game, and we lost it. I was actually at that game. Yeah. So
Marion Barber.
Yeah, thank you, JTK. Marion Barber. I was at that game. The Bears were winning, and I wanted to beat traffic. So we left with like 2 minutes to go or something. And then I hear it in the car that they had lost. I'm like, are you kidding? What? So this game kind of worries me. I think I'll kind of go last. I kind of want to hear what you guys have to say about this matchup before I make my decision on this one. You're muted, Foster. You're muted, Foster. You're still muted, Foster.
Yeah, I am. Which game are we on? Because I had to turn my attention to something else here.
The Broncos at home.
Oh, I had this pegged a minute. That was like the first game I looked at and said win. I'm not kidding you because it's the first. When they put the schedule up, Denver was the first symbol they had for the home game. So, you know what? I haven't even looked at. I don't even know what's going on in Denver. I've heard some crazy stuff over the last prior to the draft. I forgot what's what there with. So quarterback is Wilson. He's had problems. Couldn't do anything right with them last year. They brought in the new coach. I don't even know what to think of that team because it's kind of a mess. It reminds me of like how the Bears were for 20 years, man. A mess. So I'm counting that as a win. I haven't looked at the team or any of that stuff yet at all. I just looked at that and I knew bits and pieces of what's going on in Denver, and I'm assuming they're not going to be ready for this season, but you never know. But like I said, man, I immediately chalk that up as a W. So right now I got them going 3-1. Trips.
I'm thinking Sean Payton's just getting out there with Russell Wilson. It's going to take them, a few games to get that offense rolling and on the same page. I think our young and athletic defense can overcome that. And as far as defenses for Denver, didn't they lose a couple of defensive tackles and linebackers? So they're retooling a little bit. Not that they were very good to begin with. So I could see this as a victory for the Bears.
Cool.
Okay. PJ?
I think we're playing at home. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I see us as a victory. Sean Payton's still trying to get his system incorporated there. Yeah, I don't know what. Well, they still got those 3 wide receivers. Am I correct? Don't they? Suddenly,
And they got Marvin Mims. I mean, he's a rookie, but They did add to their wide receiver core as well.
And who's their running back? There's still the one guy came from the Chargers. Gordon, is he their running back?
Melvin Gordon?
Yeah.
I actually don't think so.
I don't remember what his contract was. That was a couple of years ago, though.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a victory for us. So I'm at 3-1. Yeah, I'm at 3-1.
I think Sean Payton's the X factor.
Yes.
He really built a good team, and he's a damn good offensive coordinator. So I think he could figure out Russell Wilson. I think it could be a close game, but I do think they did lose some guys on defense. They were actually pretty good on defense last year. Their offense was just so bad that it kind of compounded and made their defense look worse. Now, as far as I think we're kind of around 3-1, but I'm still 50-50 on that Packers game. So I might be safe to call it 2-2 on my end at the moment.
Oh, now you're backtracking there. All right. I'm just joking.
He's giving his take. I wonder who Jordan Love is myself. Some stuff looks great. Other stuff looks like crap. Which one's the real guy?
Jordan Love. Jordan Love's the quarterback for Green Bay.
Yeah, and they've got a good running game, and I don't know if our defensive line is going to be ready game one to stop the running game of Green Bay. And they've always had a good offensive lineman. Their offensive line coaches are really damn good. But for now, I mean, we could say 3-1, 2-2, but I think we're still starting the season off pretty good.
Yeah.
I've taken all of your comments into account, and it being a home game, I think I'm going to give that a win because of all the things you guys stated. Sean Payton is the X factor in this, but how quickly is he going to get that together by game 4? And if we're really starting to roll by then, which I think Justin Fields is going to come out of the gate this year like gangbusters, and we might even be able to put up some points with the Chiefs because of him. But that's why I think this game I'm gonna call this a win. So I'm gonna say 3-1 now too with you guys.
Nice.
This actually might be the most pivotal game because if we can get back up to like a winning record and not fall 500 or below, it could probably do real well for the spirits of the team at this point.
Exactly.
Yes, I agree. And going into the next game against Washington.
Yep.
Yes.
Which is Thursday night again in Washington this year. We switched it from last year. They returned the favor. So
go ahead, Foster.
On this game, I'm a big Ron Rivera fan, guys. I always have been. I wanted him before we got rid of Nagy. I wanted him as the coach of the Bears because he was really, done with Carolina. But anyways, it didn't happen. So I digress. But this game, how their defense is, man. They got the guys on defense. We know that. We saw it, and we still did a good number on them last year. But again, we came up short, and we came up short because of the combination of defense and offense in that game, if I remember correctly, because they didn't have a great offense either. I remember watching that game, and I think, what?
Didn't they have Carson Wentz?
Yep, Carson Wentz. But I remember watching that game and going to myself, I'm like, man, there's going to be 4 teams in it from the NFC East, and Vinny Parisi and Frank on their show. We're talking about baseball, and they said, no way. I think there was 4, or did I say 3 teams or 4? I don't know, but I was right, whatever I said. It just happened to be the wrong teams. Because I pictured Washington after we played them last year. I said, that's a playoff team. They're a quarterback away, and that was last year, man, in my eyes, from what I saw. And you saw what they did the rest of the season. So this game I got a 50-50 on, man. I do. I got to throw the wrench in there. who's quarterbacking and how prepared are they for Washington? Because that might be the determining factor. But also, our defense is going to be way better than it was last year when we played them. So I'm going to give the Bears the edge on this. So now I'm calling them 4-1. And Chips Ahoy, boy, instead of putting W's, give us your record. Because I got a bunch of W's in the chat, but I don't know if you're 3-1 or 2-2.
I think he's 3-1.
I'll finish there. Go ahead, Trips.
Washington is a X factor because their defensive line, that $200 million cap eating monster, is going to put on pressure just naturally. That's who they are. And offensively, we would normally be able to write them off easily, but with Eric Bieniemy going there, who I think is really overlooked offensive brain, who knows what he's going to have that team doing out there, because they're hungry. And, Chico has them hungry, and I think he's on the hot seat, so he's going to have them motivated. So I'm going to, as a homer, go a Bears victory, but that's really up in the air right now because it's just too early to know what they are.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, PJ?
I think it's going to be the revenge game for Chase Young, going back to Washington and playing against the Commanders. I think he's going to have a great game there. So I see us winning that one. Yeah, but they do have a good defensive front. Their 3 defensive linemen is pretty decent. I said 3, not 4.
Got to throw Chase Young in there, though, right, PJ?
No, Chase Young going to be on the Bears by the end. That's why it's on me. Follow me now. Follow me. All right. But yeah, I think we'll be all right. Their quarterback is Sam Howell or something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we might be, because of that Broncos game, and like I said, get the roll in there. I think we're going to start a roll right there.
So I'm far more optimistic about this game, I think, than you guys. I think it's going to be a coming out party for Justin Fields. I think it's going to be nationally televised. Now, they have a great defensive line, but didn't they draft 2 corners this year early because their cornerback sucked?
2. Yep. 2 of
And
them.
I think this is going to be right around the time where Justin Fields and DJ Moore are going to be clicking. I said it takes about 3-4 games for offenses to really start clicking and knowing what everybody's doing and getting smooth with it. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a huge coming out party for Fields. It's going to be nationally televised. I think we're going to blow them out. I think we're going to be the talk of the week. Everybody's going to be on the Justin Fields hype train. I really like Sam Howell from North Carolina. But, I mean, I don't know if he would be a starting caliber quarterback. And, I mean, he's going into this, not with a lot on offense. Like they've got a good running back mix, kind of more of a committee. I know they got Dotson on the outside. He's in his second year as a wide receiver.
He's nice.
Yeah, I definitely think this is going to be a huge game for us, nationally televised, and we're going to get the W, and everybody's going to be talking about us.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
If you look back
Love
at
that take, J2K.
Yeah, I do too. Because, like you said, primetime game.
Yeah,
those things have to be taken into account on this. Last year, I think Swifty said it earlier, like it was the offense. Like that was the game we had like 3 or 4 goal line stances in that game and couldn't get a fucking touchdown out of it. And
right.
Had we scored just one of them, we would have won that game. So I think that you're right, that could be like, as well as that defensive line played against us last year, and we could have easily won that game if we would have scored all those goal line stances. You might be onto something there, JTK. I'm going to call it a win too.
Yeah.
So collectively we're all at 4-1 now, huh? Is that a little Homerish?
Well,
That's why I'm kind of saying I might backtrack on that first Green Bay game, and maybe or maybe the Bucks or the Broncos sneak up on us.
Right.
3-2, 4-1. I'm comfortable with those two.
Either or. Yep.
I'll take them.
yeah, I don't think we'll start off 0-2. I think that Green Bay game, we're going to jump on that because we might be looking at knowing that, hey, we got to get this one before we play KC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well
Marcus agrees with you, J2K. Howell isn't him, man.
Yeah. So up next we have the Vikings at home, and I don't know. Go ahead, Foster. Take it away.
I was just going to finish off, though. Swifty straightened me out on that. It was our offense in that game, he said.
Yeah.
Because we score like 13 points?
Right.
And we could have scored like 27 in my eyes or something like that. I mean, I know we could have scored more.
It was at least.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go back to that game, Swifty. Let me look at that real quick.
Yeah, we beat ourselves in that Washington game.
Yeah, absolutely. We did it in a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
Overthrew their players, right?
We don't have the same personnel as last year.
Exactly.
Is that where Fields overthrew that tight end for that easy touchdown?
Yep. Mooney with the drop.
Just too many miscues and mistakes.
Wentz lowering his shoulder into Roquan. Roquan.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? And he dropped the shoulder on him. Oh, man.
And he also said they still don't have a QB, but they really didn't have a QB either. Wentz sucks. Sorry. He sucks.
Yeah.
Go back. Go to the next game, man. I forgot. It's the Vikings. We're in a Vikes game, right?
Vikings, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Vikings at home.
This one's at home. The Vikings, I don't know who's going to show up from 1 week to 1 week, especially Kirk Cousins. I mean, I think he's gotten a little better over the last couple seasons, but I don't know which guy's going to be there, man. He's like a Jekyll and Hyde, and we know they got great offensive capability with the weapons that they have. I forgot who they just picked up in the draft. I know hopefully J2K will bring that up.
Addison.
Yeah, Addison. So I mean, they've added another outside weapon. What's the defense going to play like on Minnesota this year? I have a question with that. I know some of the names, not enough. Bears are at home. I'm strictly going to give them the win on the home because I am not informed enough on the Vikings this year. And you know what? They're going to win that game. That's week 6. We ought to be running a pretty good, decent machine by week 6. I'm not going to say all cylinders are running perfect. We'll probably need to be fiddling with it all season. So Bears will win that game by 10 points. What am I talking about, man? I know what I'm talking about, damn it.
What are you talking about?
He just talked himself into it.
I just talked myself into the Bears winning by 10. So what do you think of that shit?
Man.
I hope they win by 20 now because I fucking hate the Vikings too.
Triple R, man. What do you think?
It's like everybody says, the Vikings are just such a mystery, wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a riddle. Kirk Cousins. Do you like that? It's like, all right, prime time, his huevos just shrink all up like he just got out the cold pool. But then all he got to do is get the ball out to Jefferson or Addison, and those guys are just weapons. Their defensive line and linebacker core and safeties and cornerbacks aren't all that, so their defense can be had. But at any time, that offense can put up 30. So it just depends on who shows up. So right now, I'm going to defer to it being a victory for the Vikings just based on their being further along as a team than this Bears team, even though they may be on the decline. But for right now, that's the call.
Thank you there, Marcus. I agree. Chase Young revenge game would be fun. But Minnesota is having a new defense this year because Donatel is no longer there. So it may take a while for them to click on the defensive side. Losing Thielen is going to hurt them. So I think we should win at home. I think, much like Shorty said, as far as, or was it J2K? Yeah, J2K. Fields having a breakout game against Washington. That momentum carries on. So I'm looking at what we're 5-1 now, but maybe at some point between the Broncos or Green Bay, we may lose one of those. So maybe 4-2. But yeah, I think it's a victory against Minnesota.
I'm not as optimistic.
Wait. You just said that this is where their breakout game comes, and they're going to start
week
to build
before.
some momentum. Yeah, now you're set. Wait, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
It's Washington with no quarterback.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know if I can guarantee a W in this. However, Minnesota got old on defense. They lost a lot of guys on defense. I don't even know who their starting cornerbacks are. Their Cook is old running back. They got Addison, but I mean, rookie wide receivers rarely break out. I mean, one or two may, and he may do well because he's got Justin Jefferson on the other side. But the rest of that wide receiver group doesn't scare me too much. Hawkinson, the tight end. I mean, he's all right. He's good, but I don't think he's an explosive tight end. So I could see this as a W. The biggest X factor for me is Brian Flores, their defensive coordinator, the new guy. And we're talking about week 6, and I really think he is a good defensive coordinator.
I agree.
So I think he might have that team kind of gelling and having some, mishmash group of guys playing a little above their skill set. But and this is going back to you, Mr. Shorty, if I'm right that Washington game is Fields' coming out party, I think he very well could extend it to this game, and it could be a W. And we're seeing Fields on a bit of a roll.
The other thing here is there's like a mini bye week too, because we just played a Thursday night game. So if there is momentum built from that, he'll also have a little extra time to heal and prepare. So yeah, I when you said that, it's kind of that gave me a win here because I think a win at home is easy. That's a game I've seen a lot of wins at home against the Vikings. I mean, not only at the game, but I mean, it just seems like we have a better advantage against the Vikings at home. So I'm going to go with a win too.
Let me interject real quick. I did forget about us coming off of a mini bye because I think we do pretty well coming off mini buys with this coaching staff because I think they do a good job of making adjustments and what have you. So I'm in agreement that I think we'll win based on that, but also to address Cliff in the chat, I thought Cliff said something about Cousins not playing well in primetime. This is not a primetime game, am I correct?
Right. It's a noon game, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. He's a high noon quarterback, but you put him in a freaking when the primetime lights come on, he fails. I mean, look at how good they were last year and right out of the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's get to the next game here. We have, let's see. This is the game that worries me. Raiders at home. I'll let you guys talk me off a ledge before I go on that game. I just don't like this game. I never liked Raiders games. It's a noon game at home, week 7. Go ahead, Foster.
I understand your hesitation with this game, Shorty. I've been watching this series for decades, and these games just always amaze me. I think you could go back to the game, and I think it was 76 we played in Soldier Field. I think we lost 34-31. Peyton missed one play of the game and played on a sprained ankle the entire game, and we almost beat the future Super Bowl champions that season. I'll never forget that game. Watched it on CBS. But yeah, they got a weird intertwining these two teams over the last 5 decades. Not that they play each other a lot, but strange things seem to happen. I mean, you guys all know about the one game where McMahon got his kidney lacerated and Ray Guy was going to be the third string quarterback and he wouldn't even go fucking behind the center to take the ball because he was scared he was going to get his life taken from him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys remember all this shit, but I do. So anyways, they got a really weird history. I think our biggest favor is they've just switched quarterbacks. And they got this new influx. So we were talking about this 3 or 4 weeks ago, how what's his name from New England is going to come in and just fuck this team up because it seems that's what all these coaches do when they leave New England.
Josh McDaniels.
So I'm looking at it with that angle. It's going to tilt the weird shit that happens in the Bears-Raiders games, and I'm not kidding, for 4 decades that I can remember. It's going to tilt it in the Bears' favor. This is going to be their last. They're going to start unbelievably. I could be wrong about a game, but they're going to unbelievably start this season at 6-1, 5-2 in my eyes, literally. So I think they'll win this game just because of what the big shakeup. You know, like they changed everything. They tossed their quarterback. I can't remember who else they got. They don't have some of the guys that they had because we even took Billings. I know they lost 3 or 4 other players. It might even be more than that. J2K might know. But I'm going Bears all the way on this game because I just don't see them being ready. I see them being disorganized, man. With they're like, it's kind of like, reminds me of the Bears last year, man. New quarterback in another system. I know it's kind of this. It's not exactly the same, but it's not like a huge difference. But he's still got to learn some stuff.
That's
so
Garoppolo.
Again, you've got these guys coming. Go ahead. What?
That's Garoppolo going back with McDaniels.
Yeah.
Right, but it's still who does he have? I know he's got Adams on the outside, but he has no chemistry with any of these guys. We've talked about a little bit of chemistry before. He's really got he's got great chemistry with the coaching staff or
got Devontae Adams
Daniels, but that doesn't translate into production on the field regarding working out with these players. Especially he's going to have to get in big shape because between losing their tight end and a couple of defensive guys, I know they lost somebody else on their offense. Look at who they drafted. Even didn't they?
They lost their tight end, right?
Yes, he's huge, man. I wanted him. I mean, that guy's he could be tight end or a wide receiver. He's big enough and fast enough to play either one.
Right.
So they're kind of in a jumble. They're probably, in my eyes, I wouldn't be surprised if they win 6 or 7 games just because of what's going on. But then I got to throw one other thing in because I said this last year to start the game against Frisco. I said, I asked my buddy who's playing quarterback in this game, and as soon as he said it wasn't Garoppolo, I'm like, Bears will win because Lance just is not the guy. He's not the guy. I'm going to give the edge to the Bears on this. They're at home, and then after this, I don't know if it's next week or the week after we start going through some shady shit, but we'll see what Triple R thinks, man.
Yeah, I think Raiders and Jimmy G. All right, who's going to be your quarterback? Because Jimmy G might last a quarter or two before he's down for the season on IR. And then they lost the big tight end. They lost a couple key pieces along the defensive line. We got Billings. Their offense is not really consistent. They kept they franchised their running back. He's good.
Yep.
But he's other than Adams, those are your threats that I'm aware of. So I could see this definitely being a Bears win.
Yeah, okay. I like hearing all this.
All right, with the Raiders.
Oh, PJ, sorry.
It being at home, I'm looking at a victory for us being at home. I think also the fact that we're probably looking ahead to the Chargers the next week, I think it's going to probably it may be questionable, but I think we can win because Garoppolo doesn't scare me. I think somebody else said that in the chat. Yeah, Garoppolo does not scare me at all. But Devontae Adams do. So he does scare me. But I think we can come up with a good defense well enough to deal with him because I don't think they have any weapons as far as wideouts other than Devontae. Jacobs, he's a beast, so he'll be tough. Their defense, they got good rushers in Chandler Jones and what's the guy with all the Crosby? Guy with all the tattoos, Max Crosby. So they got some good defensive ends. So yeah, I think we can get them at home.
So they did pick up Jacoby Myers at wide receiver, who did play pretty well in New England.
Okay, him. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I do think they've got a good wide receiver core at the top. The thing, though, is that Garoppolo's arm is done. He can't throw deep, and he's like Mr. Checkdown. And granted, he worked with McDaniels in New England, and they're going to know a system. They're going to create something there. I think it's going to be a lot of underneath option routes. They put Devontae Adams. Yes, Foster.
You're on mute. You're on mute, Foster.
You're fucking muted, man. What?
Foster,
All right, just you're done, Foster. Finish your thought, JT.
All right.
Retro yes.
So McDaniels and Garoppolo, I think they're going to have some chemistry there to create some a good offensive game plan. They still have Jacobs, who's a hell of a runner. That offensive line isn't very good, though. And while they do have some good defensive ends, I don't think that interior is that good, or nor is their cornerbacks. So
yeah.
I think this actually is going to be a huge win for us. And I think they're going to be methodical about their offensive game plan. They're going to run heavy, a lot of play action, a lot of short crossing option routes. The other thing I want to add is that I think McDaniels absolutely destroys teams. What he did in Denver was just a joke. I know this is his second go at it, but the way he let Leatherwood just kind of, I didn't like the way he handled Leatherwood over there. How he kind of moved them around, and he moved them around because other guys got injured and didn't really play to Leatherwood's strengths or offer him a chance to grow. Now, I might be wrong. Leatherwood might have some issues that's not making him a good pro. But I think game 7? We're kind of getting into the meat of the season here. And I would not be surprised if Garoppolo's injured, McDaniels is losing the team, and we just go in and just blow them out.
Blowout.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like what you're saying there. You all have kind of turned me on to a win to this, because the more I think about it as you guys are speaking, Josh McDaniels is a fucking train wreck of a head coach. I mean, he lost half his team before half the season. I mean, I had read a story about someone who was saying that he like brought everybody up in front of the entire team and like reprimanded them in front of everybody for what they did wrong in the game, and he ended up losing half his team because of that. And that's a lot of the reason why Carr's no longer there. He couldn't do something with Carr, but he's going to go get Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo, right, to your point, has a hard time staying healthy. But what does concern me, if he is healthy, is Devontae Adams, and that he works perfectly for a quarterback like Garoppolo, with the quick passes, getting him. He runs routes so perfectly. That could work out, but I don't think so in the long run. I think that I don't have any faith in Josh McDaniels as a head coach, and I think that this game is a win for me too.
Doggone it, Shorty! You stealing everybody else's answers. You have to go first next.
Oh, well, hold on. I do want to pull this. I want to pull this up real quick for Retro in chat, saying he's got a man crush on Jimmy G. So let's just here you go, Retro. That's for you, buddy. Go ahead and you want to take a minute? I can leave that up so you can go. If you're on your phone, you can go in the bathroom.
Hey, Retro, try and hit the ceiling, man.
All right, so I'm up next because I'm feeding off your guys' hands. But literally, the Raiders, they're a team that always worries me because there always seems to be a lot of penalties when we play them. But and they always, like the last time we played them was overseas. We lost when they completely shut down Mac. Again, different head coach. I'm definitely not sold on McDaniels. A new quarterback, yeah, he might know his system, but I'm not sure. I think this is where we take the lead, whereas now we're the all-time record versus each other is 8-8. So I think this is where we go 9-8 against the Raiders, and we take the lead back. So yeah, that's what I think. But I'll take this next win, or this next team, and this is a Sunday night game against the Chargers.
Make them go last.
It's at the Chargers, Sunday night. This is another one of those games, guys, where if Justin Fields, if he built up that momentum with the Commanders game, and then the Vikings win, and now we just beat the Raiders, I don't know. It's kind of hard to keep that momentum going, especially with a good team like this. I think they should have had more wins in the last couple of seasons. Didn't they lose? Didn't they miss the playoffs last season?
No.
Oh, okay.
They played in the first round against Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. But they lost to Jacksonville. Yeah, that's what it was. So I don't know. I can't keep giving wins here. This is a loss for me.
Boo.
I can't keep homering it up for good faith. It's just
I'm a homer. You're a homer. Wouldn't you like to be a homer too? Come
I'm trying
on.
to keep record here. Did any of you guys have the Raiders as a loss?
I don't think so.
I'm homering on Thursdays with you, PJ.
Man. Only on Thursdays. Huh?
Yeah. Where are you at? Did you finish your take there, Shorty, on the Chargers game?
Yeah. I have this as a loss.
Yeah, I'm going to take it as a loss, too, because I just don't see them playing like last year with all the injuries and everything that happened last season.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of know what the Chargers are. We have a pretty good idea over the last couple seasons.
Mm-hmm.
We know what Herbert can be, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to chalk this up as one of those losses. I think even Matt and I were talking about a couple weeks ago, or was it last week or the week before, when you pulled out the schedule and we both went, yeah, we know there's 2 losses in there right off the bat. This was one of mine, KC and San Diego. So I don't know if that's the game he meant, but I'm taking it as a loss because I just don't. I don't see the coaches either letting them allowing them to play like they did last year. I'm not saying this right, guys. I can't spit it out of my mouth right.
I got to pee, guys. I'll be right back.
It is basically, go. Get the hell out of here. We don't need your ass. You're only taking what the rest of us are saying and adding to it. Tell them, PJ. Tell them you get polls on them if you don't straighten out.
No, see, look, now you're taking. Everyone's going to say they lost. This is a loss because I did. So.
Well, now we're feeding off of you. I thought I'd just go down with the ball and chain and drown. But no, seriously though. I mean, I have not looked at San Diego, but I'm sitting here right now and I'm going through last year, the games that I saw and what I remember, and the prior season. I'm looking at that team. I don't see them repeating the season they had last year. I just don't see them repeating it. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not sure about the offensive and defensive lines. I don't know who they're missing, what they've added. I know they had a ton of injuries last year. I just don't see them being the same team from last year. I see them as being the team from the year before and a little better. So that's where I'm at now. But we get closer to this game, I'll be looking at that for sure, man, because I like San Diego, man. They've never won anything. I'm the underdog guy.
Seeing as though San Diego doesn't have a team, I guess you do like them.
You're right. The Chargers. So now that I said that, I don't like them because I forgot they're in LA. And I'm serious. I changed that quick. LA and New York, don't like any team from either town. And it's not the people or the city or the places. It's the damn East West Coast media that's been screwing the teams over that are in the middle of the country for the last 40 years. Because I've watched it happen actually since Monday Night Football came on the air, and that was in 1970. You know where I'm talking about, PJ, I bet.
I remember. I bet you remember when TV first started in 1950. Black and white.
Yeah, because I hate you holding the rabbit ears, damn it.
All right, Triple R.
What you got, Trips, on these Chargers, man?
Man, the Chargers are a more evolved, developed team. And, they had some injury concerns last year with Herbert. But I think, if everybody's healthy, they would kick our ass.
Damn.
It's a loss. I got it as a loss. I didn't say kick ass, but you could be right. So stop it now.
That's all you got on there, man?
Yeah, I mean, pretty short and sweet because I don't know. Right now we don't know what these teams are.
Right.
And, when we get to projecting this far ahead into the season, it's we kind of go on history and what we think they would be or can be or should be.
Right.
And just based on that, those assumptions, I think that the Chargers are in a better position, than the Bears are right now, just as team-wise.
Okay. I personally have LA Chargers winning based upon Brandon Staley having a revenge game against us again, being our ex-coach, and we didn't hire him as our defensive coordinator or our head coach, so he probably have a little chip on his shoulder. If Mack is healthy and Bosa is healthy, I think they're going to cause problems for us. I think LA, they drafted Quentin Johnson, I think, in the first round, so the receiving core might be okay. I mean, they're tall. Williams, Quentin Johnson, and Keenan Allen, I think they're pretty tall. So I have Los Angeles beating us in LA.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think the Chargers, their roster is just so good. And for the amount of injuries, the injury to Herbert, playing 3 games, I think, with broken ribs, and how tough that division is, for them to still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that, and they were really close in a lot of those games that they lost.
Yeah.
So I think just superior talent, if they don't get the injury bug. Now, if we do have some momentum from the last 2 games, I think we could keep this game close. Now, this is really a point in the season where, just like what Triple R is saying, we don't know who these teams are going to be at this point. Now, if Fields and Moore are lighting it up, our defensive tackles are creating some kind of pressure, stopping the run, helping out our defensive ends. If everything can kind of gel, it could be a close game. But at this point, this early on, just looking at their roster, I mean, they're just loaded. They really are.
J2, do you see him being more like the team from 2 years ago as opposed to struggling in these games like last year? The Chargers, I mean.
The Chargers being from a few years ago. What do you mean?
Well, 2 years ago, was it 2 years ago? Am I thinking wrong? When Herbert lit it up, man, everybody found out what a star he was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, when he was a rookie and he came in.
Yeah, maybe I'm off, man, because
No, you're on. You're right. No, when he came in, it was so surprising how well he played so early as a rookie, and he just stepped in and he just nailed everything. He was far beyond his years, so to speak, and people were really surprised, especially because he's got this really laid back attitude. He's a Southern California kid. I don't know if he likes to surf, but I kind of think he's like a surfer kind of guy, Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I really believe in Herbert as a really good quarterback. Last year was really, really rough for him. But, yeah, like I'm saying, I think they're going to be on on one this season because of how hard last season was. I think they're really going to fight every single game. I think the Chargers are going to go deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, they were hard, and I'm sure they're going to go deep.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Hard and
afternoon,
deep,
those
DJ.
afternoon West Coast games. Sorry,
Lord.
I missed it. I was just gonna say those afternoon West Coast games that we used to always watch are going to be great this year, man. Watching that AFC West, dude. Going to be some brutal battles in there. What did you guys say? Because I missed it, damn it. Because I opened my big mouth.
Let it go. Oh, let it go with the big mouth.
PJ slide one in there again.
He slid one in there. Hard and deep.
That's PJ.
No gag reflex.
He's waiting. That divorce is coming, man. It's just he keep a few more of them comments.
I loved it during the draft when you were going on J2K and he slipped one in there and you just kept you're like, yeah, it just went right over your head. And like 40 seconds in, you're like, PJ.
I got it, but I just was trying to get my point out.
Try to get your point out, huh?
Yep.
He's trying to
Give you another softball.
Oh, man. It's like fart jokes with PJ.
You see, Matt Kedro was in the chat.
Oh, Matt.
Yeah, kids.
What's up, Matt? I sent him a link if you wanted to hop on.
Okay, I didn't know.
I bet. You want him to hop on, huh?
Are you not getting late enough in your retirement, PJ?
Hey, Dan, I'm going to have to take PJ for one of my runs.
I don't want to go by no nursing homes there, Foster. Like, hey, you want to check out some
I
hot
don't even
chicks?
want to tell you, PJ. I'm not. I never mind.
Foster's meeting of a good time. Let's go by to some nursing home and check out the girls.
Dude, that's only on Wednesday nights. I only do that once a week.
Ooh, I love playing bingo. Let's go.
That's where you pick up the hotties, right?
Only 70 and under, dude. I don't go up for that old stuff, you know?
Swifty saying PJ gets more ass than I do, 100%. Oh, man. Definitely no. I'm not. My wife's at home. My wife's in 800 miles away, so.
So you're going out with Susie and her 4 friends, huh?
I was waiting for that, PJ. What about Rosie
These are 4
Pound?
friends, yep.
What about Rosie Pound, PJ?
Yeah, there you go.
Rosie Pound, remember her?
Yes.
So what was the collective on that? Was that Chargers? Was that all a loss
I
for
think
you
we
guys?
all said Chargers win.
You did
Oh,
not.
no, wait. We all said Bears win. Dan, it's your turn. No, I'm kidding.
No,
So you all took my lead on that and said Chargers lost, right?
we wouldn't
Triple
take
R?
your lead, but we gave our answers. So.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
See.
Thank you, PJ, because he thinks something else. I don't know what. But.
Okay, so that's a loss. I think we can agree on that. And then let's get to the next.
Oh, and that's a Sunday night game.
Yes,
The Charger
prime
game.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think change of schedule. We're flying there. So you got that. They're at home. That'd be a real tough win.
Mm-hmm. So then week 9 at the Saints.
The New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr, quarterback. Do they still got Kamara? He's still on the team, right? They haven't gotten rid of him yet.
Yep.
So and look
He's
what they
still
did. Look what they did last year with our old the Red Rocket there.
Mm-hmm.
What did they win? They could win that division with Carr there. But we're gonna win. We're gonna win this game too, man. I don't care if it's in New Orleans. I just got a feeling we're gonna run down there and we're gonna roll over them in this game, man. People are gonna disagree with me, I think, on some points, but I don't see New Orleans. I think are they still recovering from the financial debacle from 3 years ago? Or are they finally out of the woods on money here? I don't even know who's on that team right now. I really don't. I didn't even look at their draft this year. I didn't even bother.
I don't know, but going down there is always hard.
It is. I'm just going to take the Bears because we got a bunch of hurtings coming on here now. I think I got them at like 7-1 now. 6-2, 7-1, something like that. And I'll take that. I'd even take the 6-3 after this game, I'll say. But I got him winning this game. I do. I got him winning this game outright. I don't know enough about New Orleans, man. I have not had time to look at any of these teams' drafts. I'm going on last year's stuff really right now. And I'm just being honest because I have not had the time to start looking at the teams that we're going to play in the schedule. I mean, we all know Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit, but outside of that, there's been a bunch of changes, man. We know Kansas City is. We know who San Diego is. We think we know who Denver is. I'm going to give them a win, even though it's on the road, man.
Okay.
They're going to be harder and harder to come by after the following week after this, because that next week game we better freaking win that. That's for our pick. I'll shut up. Go ahead, Trips.
Derek Carr does not scare me as a quarterback. I have no idea who's on the rest of the Saints team, like Foster was saying. But just based on that, I'm going Bears.
Okay. I love the homerism. PJ is going to say Bears now, too. Because he's a homer.
I'm a homer. You're a homer. Wouldn't you like to be a homer, too?
Yes, I am a homer, man.
I think this is the start of 4 out of 5 on the road. Or actually, this is a second leg of 4 out of 5 in a row. So I'm not sure, man. I'm thinking we might actually catch an L here based on the fact that we going to have a short week, probably looking forward to Charlotte, or Carolina. Looking forward to them because we're going to play them on a Thursday coming up. So, yeah, I'm thinking we're going to kind of like drop the ball on this one with Derek Carr. And I think it'll be a tight game, but I just think we're going to kind of drop the ball on this one.
I actually completely agree with you, PJ. I think coming off of that Chargers game, if we lose, which I think we will, if we lose bad, which we might,
Right.
because all the cards are stacked against us at that Charger game. It's going to be all about how this team comes out of a loss or a bad loss, and what I think their first bad loss of the season. So if they can gel, I think this game is winnable. But it's another away game, and we do have a pretty young roster. And we still don't have any defensive ends. And you never know, one injury to an offensive lineman, and we're back to where we were last year. I'm going to call this game a loss just because I don't want to over-homer the record. But I do think it's a very winnable game. It's just really going to be telling where we're at in the season.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. I have this as a loss too, not because of anything that you guys said,
Right?
Because of that right down there, 15-18 all time versus the Saints. This is just, I always have high hopes whenever we play them, and it seems to come out the wrong way. So, and for all the reasons you guys talked about too, with now there's so many wins here. It's like something's got to give, right?
Is it kind of like diarrhea coming out the wrong way?
Exactly. I have to respond to retro here. Hold on.
Some say diarrhea ain't nothing but lube.
Ain't nothing but what?
Lube.
Diarrhea ain't nothing but lube.
Oh man! Oh, Foster,
Oh,
what was the dinosaurs like?
Well, they smelled a lot, but that's how I really was able to start fire. When one of them got struck by lightning, that's how I invented fire, dude.
Did you ever ride the dinosaurs? Or
I did. I saddled them just like Cliff's Meatloaf, man. Saddled that motherfucker up, got me a pair of spurs. I made them out of wood.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, no, yeah. That was the first football team too. Was the Gotham Dinosaurs. 57 BC. I was there for the opening.
Oh boy, let's get on to the next game. The Panthers.
Yeah, let's get rolling on this so we can
Week
get to our
10.
segment. And then we can fuck with all these bastards in the chat. Carolina Panthers. This is, man, I can't believe they're not going to be 8-1. I'm saying they're going to be 8-1. They're not going to be 8-1. Something's going to happen. But we gotta win this game, man. Look at the Panthers, who they picked up. What did they get? Like 4 guys this year in the draft? 4 or 5 players in the draft.
5 players total, I think.
Okay, so
They're
not gonna be ready this year. They're gonna be ready and playing better by next year. Although didn't they have weren't they like a couple games under 500 when they finished the season without really having a quarterback? And I think we discussed this. They got some weapons. They're not barren. I just don't see them ready. And I see, especially this late in the season, if you look back at some of my chats, by week 10, Roshan Johnson is our starting running back. Full-time player, man. He's there 2-3 downs every series in my eyes. I see that. Somebody mentioned about his shiftiness, but we'll talk about that later. I see the Bears taking this game because, like I stated, I don't see Carolina being ready. They're where we were a year ago, right? I mean, if you look at it straight up, they got a rookie quarterback. Actually, we're probably in better shape a year. I take it back. They got a better roster than we had last year. But some of the talent is not as developed as some of our talent's going to be. We got a year or 2 years on some of the talent. But it's a win for the Bears. I might be wrong with my winning all these games, but we got to win this game, man. It's going to affect our draft pick for next year. So I'm counting it as a win. I could see us losing maybe to that Green Bay game or that New Orleans game. But I don't think we're going to let this game get by because it's just too important, man. Just too important. And again, they just started this rebuild. They got a rookie quarterback. So if he's not quarterback for them, who's their quarterback if Young isn't out there playing? Which by week 10, even if he doesn't start the season, he'll be out there by week 10. All they got to do is lose a few games.
Andy Dalton there? Yeah. Andy Dalton?
Yep.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they got him. I was like, somebody mentioned, you think they're playoff contenders now with Andy Dalton? And I'm going,
This is a Thursday night primetime game, too.
Is it?
At home.
That scares me because the Bears, I don't know what their primetime record is, but it has been crap most of my life. We were talking about that Chargers game, and I remembered one of their first games where Dan Fouts ate them up like 38-7 on a fucking Monday night. Terrible game for the Bears. They're going to win this one, though, man. I could swap. I could change out, like you guys were talking about, everything that you guys brought up about New Orleans, especially J2K Shifty. J2K had a lot of good points that I kind of didn't look at him. So, but I'll take this one as a definite win. I just don't think Carolina with their young, they got some weapons, but with a rookie quarterback, what I'd really like to find out is exactly who's on that line, because didn't they lose 2 guards too? Not just one. I think they lost 2 guards. So that offensive line is going to be young or old, one of the two. I don't see it being in the middle. So I think we ought to be able to handle these guys easy and put that offense down. It's going to, we stop the offense. All we got to do is score 20 points against them, and we should win that game. So that's where I'm at. What do you think, Trips?
The defense in Carolina should be much better than their offense. But overall, I don't think their offense will be good enough to carry its own water that the defense needs. So that should be a victory for the Bears and increase that Carolina draft position.
I think it'll be a hard-fought game between the two of us. Hard-fought, but I think we will win based on the fact of, Bryce Young is 5'10", I think, and Dexter 6'6", Pickens 6'4". We got big guys coming at him up the middle, so it'll be hard for him to see over that line, and we will pull out the victory. Victory! Victory! Victory!
Victor Roma.
Man.
Yeah, I think this is easily the most important non-division game that we'll play all year. Considering draft pick, just a little bit of the backstory of, trading. I think the media is going to hype this game up. It's prime time. We're coming off a short week. Like I said about playing the Saints, if we're gelling at this point in time, or if we're struggling, this game to me is a 50-50 game. And it's going to swing one way or another, kind of how well we handle a Chargers loss, how we handle going to the Saints. I'd like to chalk this up as a win, but I really do like their coaching staff, and I don't think they're as bad as their record has shown them to be. I'm going to call it a win.
All right. Victory.
This is definitely a win for me because it's at home. It's on a primetime game on Thursday night. It's after, I think we all agreed to the loss for the Saints. Did anybody think we were going to beat the Saints? I forgot to get that. Was it that we all agreed it was a loss? Okay.
No.
No.
I said it was a win, dude. But I said I'd switch that game with the Carolina game.
Yeah.
I just don't see us going. I had us going 8-1. It just ain't going to happen, man. It could, but I don't see it happening.
Trips got us beating the Saints too, right, Trips?
Yeah, I don't see what the Saints are offering as far as intimidation right now.
So the Panthers, they're coming from a warm weather outdoor team. It's not that cold in November, but it'll be a home primetime game at night with literally their first pick in the draft on the line. Every loss counts to that team. So that's going to give them a lot of extra motivation. I just think they're going to be better prepared to win that game than the Panthers will be, because if all things go well, their rookie quarterback will be playing by then, I would imagine, in their eyes. And if he's not, I'm not scared of either quarterback, but Andy Dalton certainly doesn't, scare me at all. So they lost DJ Moore too. They lost somebody else, but they only had 5 extra picks. They had, I forget who they signed in free agency, but they do have a new head coach too.
Miles Sanders and Thielen from the Vikings. They got those two guys in free agency.
I think that's a win for me.
All
right. Let's see. Who do we have next here? We have. Oh, here we go. So now we have another. That was a Thursday night game. So now there's like another mini bye here, and then we play Detroit at high noon.
At Detroit.
At Detroit. High noon. All the crap that's been said the last couple years between Chicago and Detroit. And I'm not just talking about us and Don Burr, man. There's interaction with the players on this, man. Those 2 games. I'm going to give this game to Detroit. We all know what's coming from Detroit. I mean, we've watched them. We've watched what they've done the last 2 seasons, 3 seasons, stacking his team up. So they're at home. And this used to be the rule when I was younger. If you had these divisional games, you could throw out all the records, man. It doesn't matter who's doing what. And I've seen this where the Bears were 0-5 and Detroit was 4-1, and the Bears kicked their ass. I've seen it both ways. So these divisional games, they're tougher. I got to throw out the records, but we've talked a bunch about Detroit over the last few months, man. I'm gonna give this game to Detroit because. No, I'm not giving it to them. They're going to earn a win at home. They are pretty bound and destined to show something this year, especially after what happened to them last year, because they could have been in the playoffs and made a run last year. They really could have. This is Goff's last year on his contract too, guys.
Okay.
What's up, Triple R?
Trips.
I'm going to go with Detroit simply because I think they're more advanced right now in the team building. They have a very young, hungry defense that got, a nice influx of talent in the draft with Captain Jack from Iowa at linebacker. Then they got Branch for that crazy ass trade with Green Bay. And he was considered, one of the top safety, coming out. So, in addition to the, what is his name, Hutchinson, and the kid from Jackson State that was giving Braxton Jones the fits, that defense is going to be eaten. And offensively, they have weapons, but the question is Goff. He's the X factor. If he's decent, they're going to be, a playoff team. If Goff chokes on it, they're going to be in the hunt. But right now, I think they're ahead of we are, so I'll give that one to the Lions.
Okay. All right. You guys both went with the Lions there, so let me go with the Bears. I'm a homer. Okay, the Bears. After 10 days break, we be well rested, well practiced. We're going to have our stuff together. We're going to come into Detroit and look for Don Burr and smack all of the Lions. Just smack them.
Nice.
Love it.
I'm going to be a little more of a realist here. Like I'm kind of going, I think there's this meat of the schedule that starts with the Chargers game, Saints and Panthers. Like I've been saying, if we lose badly to the Chargers, do we gel? Do we come back against the Saints and the Panthers? And I am looking a little ahead on the schedule, but I think our team's going to be looking ahead on our schedule as well, because we've got 3 division games coming after what I think could be a tough stretch for us. We got Lions, Vikings, and then Lions again. So this is really going to be where we make the playoffs or we don't. And I think this Lions game is possibly going to be one of the most important divisional games we play all year. I think the Lions are going to play well this year. Kind of have the Lions and the Vikings kind of neck and neck. I think the Vikings come down a little bit from that 13-3 record. I think the Lions could get double-digit wins this year. So, I mean, it's a tough one for me to say in Detroit, the Bears come out and they put on an ass whooping. I'd like that to be true. I could see that happening if we're kind of on a roll from the Saints Panthers games. If we can kind of win and the team's behind us, but also to kind of balance out the schedule, I don't want to end up with some 11-5 record and we go 5-11 next year and we're like, what are we all thinking? Like we kind of did last year.
Right.
So I'm just going to call this one a loss.
What?
Yeah. I'm going to call it a loss too.
What do you got? I'm going 14-3, PJ?
Easy. 15-2. Oh, I'm sorry.
PJ is the only one with the win on this one.
Not just a win, a beat down.
An ass whooping. Oh, let me put that.
Man, a beat down.
All right.
I so hope you're right, PJ. I
Me
so
too.
hope you're right. I will fucking kill them.
That would be amazing.
I'm always right, man. Even when I'm wrong, I'm right.
I always tell the truth, even when I lie.
Man. Or what's the shirt I seen? I may not always be right, but I'm never wrong.
Ah, right. Yes. Next team we have. Now we're at the Vikings. Yeah. Here's where it's going to get a little rough around
Hey,
this.
Raging Oracle. You made it.
Raging Oracle. Oh, we're on game 12, Raging Oracle. And we are so far, well, we're kind of collectively, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins and 6 losses. Wow. Are we really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 7-4 at this point, guys, collectively. So now we're on to Week 12, Raging Oracle, and we're at Minnesota. It's a primetime game at night, which that I would have had not if that was a high noon game, I would call that a loss. But I don't know I don't trust Kirk Cousins in primetime. We've all said it. That's a hard one. I've been going last though, so I'll let you go first, Foster.
Thank you very much. Well, Cliff said that he falls apart in prime time. I can't remember which is true, honestly.
Historically,
I got the Bears losing this game. I don't even know what the Bears record is in prime time. But if my memory serves correct, going back from 1970 till right now, we don't have a winning record in prime time. I could be wrong. I'm just going off the top of my head. But again, I see us splitting with the Vikings. I could be wrong. We could win this game and lose the other one because that one's early in the season. But I'll call this a loss and a split either way. I got a feeling I'm wrong. I got a feeling we're going to win this game and lose the other one. So I'll call it that way. That Minnesota game we lose, I'm switching that home, this is back totally backwards. This usually doesn't happen, or it didn't used to happen. We'd always say, okay, we got 3 wins for sure, going to actually 4 because we had Tampa Bay back then. But I'm going to call this a win and the other one a loss, so I'm one behind you guys with the record. That's the way I see it. I mean, Cliff said that Cousins falls apart. I can't remember. I got a feeling he's right. So I'm going to say that Minnesota wins that first game, and the Bears win this game on this primetime game, which is not what I normally would go with. It's just what I'm looking at when I look at what's on paper, man. What's on paper and what I know. So I kind of screwed that up, but I'm gonna take this as a win and the other one's a loss.
Where's that timer at?
I was just about to say, just pull that thing
Yeah,
up.
that's what we needed. We needed the timer, man.
I was about to pull it. I should have. I was trying to type this banner though.
Let these guys finish and we'll start on the next guy. That way everybody gets fair shake.
Go for it, Triple R.
All right. I don't remember which way I went with the first Minnesota game, but whatever way I went that way is opposite because I think we're going to split, like Foster was saying.
You had a loss.
All right. So this one would be the victory.
Okay.
So I can see where now, Fields and DJ and Mooney and Scott and Rojo and everybody's starting to, gel and come together and know where they're supposed to be and what everybody else is doing. And I can see that point in which, we start putting up some consistent points on offense. Whereas the defense still may be outclassed a little bit by that more experienced Viking offense. So either way, they're going to split. So if I had the Vikings as a loss before, I see it as a victory this time.
What did I have the first time there, Shorty?
What's that?
What did I have the first time on this one?
You had a win. Everyone had a win but Triple R.
Okay.
I think I had a loss.
You did?
First game versus Minnesota.
Okay, sorry about that.
All right, I think we may fall down here. Flores, whatever his name is, probably have that defense rolling by then. So probably give us some problems. Being a away game Sunday night, where we probably go down burning.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give this one a loss. We do get an extra day in the week here because this is a Monday night game, I believe. But I just can't keep giving the Bears too many wins. I think this is going to be a very tough game in Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to say it's a loss.
All right, how many losses is that? Foster, you were flipped. So
I got mine. I'm at 7-3 right now.
okay, but you had the first Vikings as a win. So you
Switch
had
it
this
to a
as
loss.
okay. So we got and then Triple R had it as a loss. So now that's a win. And then you have a win, PJ.
No, I have a loss here.
Okay, and then you have a loss, JTK.
Yes.
This is collectively a loss because I think that they're going to win this game, but we're doing this collectively, so I don't. This is the collective total. I think they're going to win this game because so far in the previous 4 games we have 3 losses and 1 win collectively. Chargers loss, Saints loss, Panthers win, Lions loss. If they lose this game, that's going to be a problem right there. And because it is a primetime game and Kirk Cousins seems to play like shit in those games, historically, not to say that he will, because I didn't think that I thought we would at least split the games with him last year because of this same theory. I don't think, did we play him on primetime last year? No, I don't think we did. But I thought we would split it with him last year and we didn't. So this time I had them as a win in the first game. And only for the fact that I just said I'm going to take this as a win because of the 3 losses out of the last 4 games, out of the previous 4 games. But collectively, it's a loss.
So what's our collective
next
record
team.
right now? We 7-5, 6-6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're 7-5 collectively.
All right, I think that's kind of fair.
I think so.
Boy, we would have been real happy with 7-5 last year after 12 games, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and before we jump ahead, I did want to say Kirk Cousins has really good statistics for a quarterback who gets like kicked to the curb a lot from other fans.
Right.
And granted, there are some games that he did not pull out the win, but there are a lot of games that the Vikings were just up by so many points, and Kirk Cousins played really well.
His season last year or the year before was better than Matt Ryan's MVP season as far as stats on paper.
Right.
So, yeah, he's not. In fact, I did a podcast with a Vikings fan last year, like a pregame that leading up to that game that week, and he said the same shit we're saying about Kirk Cousins. So even as a fan of the team, he thinks that. And Kirk Cousins, I think, probably surprised him last year.
Right.
So up next is the Vikings.
We just did
sorry,
that.
the Lions. Sorry, Foster's got a fucking novel on the screen there. So week 14, Vikings. Lions. It's a high noon game again at home. What do you guys think of that game? Foster. You probably muted or something. Yeah, you're muted. You're the mute king.
Thanks, Tooch.
Good job there.
This is the game I got us winning. I got us winning this game. We lost the other game to them earlier in the season. We've prepared. We're taking constant steps forward. I mean, so are they. But I got the Bears winning this game. Sunday noon game in Chicago. You know Soldier Field's going to be insane for this game. Whether we win or lose that first game, you know Soldier Field's going to be insane. So I'm just going to go on everything based on the last game. And we could lose this game too in my head. So I'm going to go 60-40 on the Bears, which means I'm checking the Bears off to win it. But this could be another racked up loss, guys. I'm just saying it out loud.
A lot of things going on in your head there, Foster.
Too much, man. Too much, Peach. I got too much going on, dude. Too much.
There you go. All right. Well, You're next, Triple R.
I finished
A little bit
already.
full.
I didn't
I
go
think
over that.
this is a definite, not definite, but I think Detroit is just a better team right now, and they should be really pushing to the playoffs. There should be a competitive game, but I think Detroit takes both of them from us this year.
Wow. Okay. JTK, man, help me out here with that one.
Are PJ's up?
I'm sorry, PJ.
I have us losing this one, being that because in my scenario we won the last game, so I think we split with them. So I got us losing this one, although we're at home. I still got us. We're getting probably dog tired towards that end of that 4 out of 5 games on the road. So we're weighing down there.
Yeah,
You have a loss.
I'm with you, PJ, but I gave us the loss in the last time we played the Lions. So this time I'm going to give us a win.
Okay.
I think I'm looking at a 7-5 record, and this is towards the end of the season. We just had 2 divisional games we lost. I think we're going to come out and really play hard. We're going to have a real fire in this game.
Okay.
I'm going with a win on this too. I agree with you on that because I think we all agree they're going to lose the first game. I think they're going to win this game at home. And now you're looking at the playoffs are on the line. The division could be on the line. You know, we just technically lost 4 out of 5 games collectively. Like we just said, this has got to be a win. It's got to be. So I'm going with a win. So collectively, that is a win.
So,
Oh,
sorry.
and isn't our bye actually just before this game? I think our bye game is week 13.
Well, that's a good question.
So this is now
Yes, it is.
we're going to have a week off. So I think I'm sticking with my win, my W.
Okay, change mine to a victory if we're coming off a bye. Yeah, change mine to a victory.
Now, did we all take Detroit and Chicago to split? Right? Didn't we? We lose there.
I
We win at
was,
home. I think.
But because of after a bye, I'm changing my answer now to victory.
All right.
Yeah. It's a bye week, so PJ said that we're going to beat Detroit, and also Chase Young recovers and begins playing for the Bears, right?
Recovered.
Just making it up, dude.
He's been playing with us all year. What you mean recovered?
Oh well, crap! Then we're going to win more games.
Easy now. We ain't got Mac and Young. We just got Young now. Hold on.
All right. So now we got we're on to week 15. We're going to the Browns with the time to be determined. Foster, go. This is a tough one, man. You're muted, man. Jesus.
Come on, Tooch.
I'm trying to do it. Never mind. So I forgot. I was saying this on Swifty's show. Even I said, who and what are the Cleveland Browns? Because their identity. I mean, I know who the quarterback is. I know who they got. I know who they just drafted. But who are they? Are they going to gel? I mean, they've got a core of players. But is this team going to be ready? Is Deshaun Watson ready? Are they ready for the season? And there's always an issue with Cleveland. Cleveland's kind of a funny game with the Bears. Always, it thinks to me. I'm going to take this game. Bears lose in Cleveland.
Ooh.
We lose by this is one of those 1-score losses I was talking about.
Ooh.
Yep. So I know everybody's freaking out on it.
Ooh.
I'm not sure. This is another game where I go 60-40, but I'm leaning in Cleveland. And originally I wasn't. I had the Bears. I'm just going, this is one of those games. Kind of reminds me of the Raiders, Shorty. I'm gonna give the W to the Browns in this. They got that Central Division shit going on, and at this point in the season, they're a must win, and I think their defense is maybe no, it's not a little. They're ahead of us in development, that's for sure. I mean, look at all the guys they've picked up over the last few years. I don't know who they just lost, but they have a core of players on that team that, given the right set of circumstances and everything, they could beat anybody. But then they could also get their ass kicked by any, because we don't know how it's going to gel. I'm assuming they're gelling and that they beat the Bears by like 5 or 6 or something. Yeah, a little late there, Shorty. Done. What do you got, Trips?
Well, if Mr. Happy Ending, me love you long time, is playing up to his potential, and that team is playing up to their potential, it should be a victory for Cleveland.
Short and to the point. PJ.
Good job. I must go ahead and go along with none of you and say the Bears are going to win. Victory. Week 15. By week 15, I think Cleveland will be like, you know what? We did okay this year so far. Let's just call it quits, and they just done. And we just go ahead and swoop on in there and say, all right, send a masseuse to Watson's room. We got it. Victory.
I think you guys made great points, especially Foster's talking about the Browns being a team that who are they going to be in week 15? And just like you're saying, PJ, it's really hard for me to call this game. It's also a flex game, so we might end up seeing a primetime matchup.
Right.
Man, I want to say it's a win, but there's just one matchup that just scares me so much. That's Myles Garrett going against Braxton Jones.
Mm.
And he's a powerful rusher. And his strengths are exactly what Braxton Jones' weaknesses are. I think we're going to go into that game much different than we did with Nagy. And Komet's going to be chip blocking Garrett the whole game. I think it's going to limit what we can do on offense. I think we play a lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets.
Like those tight ends.
I do. So, and who knows where Watson's going to be, or
Yeah. Where Watson's going to be.
Yeah, we're watching where his head's going to be, how he's playing. I do think they've got pretty good receivers, and they still got Nick Chubb. So I think I'm going to have to go with a loss on this one.
Who are the receivers now?
What's that?
Who are the receivers?
They traded for Elijah Moore, who I thought was really unutilized over with the Jets.
Okay.
They've got Peoples-Jones. I'm actually looking at the roster. Amari Cooper. They signed.
Cooper, okay.
I thought they signed another wide receiver.
And they got that Njoku too. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, they drafted Cedric Tillman, who I really liked as a wide receiver. I did like their draft. At this point, some of those guys might be popping off. Saika Ika, the huge nose tackle. I think it's not our scheme, but in their scheme, I mean, he's going to be a day one starter, and I think he's going to play well.
Did they change their defensive scheme with is Schwartz their defensive coordinator now?
You know what? I'm not sure, but let me check coaches.
Because Schwartz, like running that wide 9.
Kevin Stefanski is their head coach. Yes, Jim Schwartz.
Yeah, he likes running that wide 9, and his defense is pretty effective with that. So I don't know what their interior is looking like, though.
Well, Sika should play well early, and they got Myles Garrett on the other side. So one guy's going to soak up double teams, and the other guy's going to soak up double teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got to call this a loss. I don't want to over-homer the entire schedule, but they could fall apart. They exactly like you're saying, PJ. They could just be like, we're 6 and whatever, 8 at this point, or 5 and 9.
Yeah, we're going to end up hiring Jim Harbaugh for that day to push
Right.
sports and see what happens.
I'm going to go with a loss on this because the matchup is it's really only a preseason matchup. As long as these two teams have been around, and look at the all-time record, 7-10. Just at this point, there's just too much speculation with Deshaun Watson and what that team could be. And like you said, it could be a primetime game. I have this as a loss. And Foster, can you pull up Eric Sullivan's comment about Italian beef sandwiches?
I didn't even see it. I didn't even
Right
see
here,
it yet.
I got it. I miss Italian beef sandwiches. Chicago Italian beef is not talked about enough, in my opinion. Man, literally, that is my favorite sandwich, Eric. And I've talked about it at nausea about being my favorite. I live in Georgia. I grew up here, live in Georgia. I'm back home visiting for Mother's Day, and I've had like 4. But I have a recipe because I used to work. It was my first job. I make them at home, real, like with a meat slicer and all, man. And you can buy the Toronto rolls par baked and have them shipped to your house, Eric. Just keep them in the freezer, let them thaw. You could put them in the oven at like 500 degrees for about 4 minutes, and you can make your Italian beef.
Who got that button to kick Shorty off the show real quick?
Hey, Shorty, let's go back. Let's use the timer finally. Now that we're almost done.
Yeah. So I have 6 more seconds to talk about Italian beefs. Like, I absolutely love Italian beefs, guys.
Italian beef, double dip, some giardiniera, some banana peppers, and some mozzarella.
Fucking Dagos.
No, not banana peppers. Did you say giardiniera and banana peppers?
Yes, I did.
Interesting. Never had that, but that would be good.
Oh man, you never had fish and spaghetti either. So get off the show, will you?
Fish and spaghetti? This guy is with his fish and spaghetti again. Get out of here, man.
Stole my idea. See that? You're lucky I ain't got that button.
Eric, it's really easy, man. Save all of your fat from your meats, and you can just saute it in a pan and add a little beef.
What? What? You said
I could sit here for a half an hour and give him a recipe to make himself his own Italian beef, and he would love it.
What you say? Save all your fats from your meats?
Yeah. So like what I'll do?
No.
I'll go get like a ribeye or 2, and I'll sacrifice a ribeye, and I'll cut the fat off, throw it in the freezer, and I'll just grill like the center of it, and I sacrifice that one. But then, this is when I used to. This is before I started making them from scratch, like in a big roasting pan. I go buy like a huge roast. Oh, by the way, that's my pizza here. I'll be right back.
This dude got the munchies, man.
I'm eating dinner here. Hold on.
He got the munchies.
He said, "Hold on, I'll be right back." That's my door.
I think when Swifty was out smoking his blunts, I think Shorty did a couple too at the same time or something, man. I don't know.
No, that's Mama Shorty. She was like, "I don't feel like cooking tonight, boy. Go ahead, order something."
Couple extra those THC gummies were involved.
My man had to leave the show. He had to leave the show because the pizza man's at the house.
Shorty's
Now
mom
everybody's
sits back
talking
like
about
this.
food because he
Wait,
brought it
how'd
up.
she do it? How'd she do it? She said, "Hey, Ma, how you feeling?"
Shit. We can't even pull. I can't even pull the skin.
You can't make this stuff up, man. Oh my God.
He said, "Pizza's here. Screw you guys."
Great. And bring the pizza and everything. God.
It's like, we live right now, right?
Man.
That ain't
Yeah,
it.
but we can take this opportunity to do one of those. What do you call them?
Public
Spots
service
where you
announcement?
say, no. Tell them to look at the bottom of the screen if you would like to be a part of the program. The Bears Country Podcast. We are, fans. We were all in the chat, just like you all are in the chat now. For those that are in the chat, And if you would like to be in the position that we are, where you get to be on camera, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, look at this
And
guy.
talk your Bears good shit. Your viewpoints, your thoughts, your perspectives. So you email what is it, Dan?
BearsCountryPodcast at gmail.com. It's on the bottom of the screen, actually.
Yeah, there we go. I'm waiting for it to scroll by. BearsCountryPodcast at gmail.com. And, Shorty sends you the link and you can be one of us up here as opposed to being one of us down there.
Where you are the show. That's correct.
Word.
But don't go scaring them, Triple R, telling them they're going to be one of us, because I wouldn't want to tell somebody that they're going to be me.
Man.
Or bastards.
In our positions, not us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There ain't nobody that can fill a lot of shoes that's going on up here.
I'm just saying, you're gonna be in the basement.
Nor do they want to, probably. But
right? They want to fill these shoes. You got to go to the bowling alley and get that spray and get a lot of it.
What were you saying?
I said you want to be like us. You're gonna be in a basement with wood paneling.
I think that's only me, but I'm not in a basement. I'm in an old garage that's attached to the house and now is a family room. So now I'm going to pull the walls off and show you what's behind her, because you've been bugging me for a month about it. Oh, there's Shorty munching on some pizza.
Guys, the pizza in Georgia sucks.
I understand.
I'm so excited to have a Rosati's pizza right now.
It sucks everywhere but here. Pizza sucks like everywhere I've had it but here. Nobody makes it good.
Everywhere. Sorry to be
like
rude and eat in front of you guys, but
I heard that New Haven has some good pizza.
Connecticut?
Watching the alphabets?
Yeah. That's what I heard.
New Haven, Connecticut?
That's what I heard.
One place.
I've heard that, actually. I've heard Connecticut has good pizza.
I have not been there. It's one of the few states I haven't been to. I don't think they allow me that far on the East Coast.
So where are we at here?
They don't let you outside your house anymore there, Foster.
No, PJ, they extended it now. I can go through all of Cook County. They're hoping somebody kills me.
Man.
Damn.
Going around in people's neighborhoods, taking pictures of them vacuum cleaning their lawns and whatnot.
Come on, man. Do you believe that? You saw it. Do you believe it? Let's pull the list up so we can finish this.
Let's go.
We'll keep that other segment really short, and then we can start fucking around, man, and having some fun with some other shit.
Arizona Cardinals at
Arizona
home.
Cardinals. Where's
Week
the timer
16.
at? Give me the timer, dude.
There you go. Hold on. Let me
We're
reset
playing
it.
Arizona Cardinals
Afternoon
it's an
game.
afternoon Fox game in Soldier Field. They are beat up, mangled. That's a win for the Bears, if you ask me. That team and franchise right now is a mess, as it seems to have been pretty much since they left St. Louis. They've been a mess, man. When I was a kid, they were always a good team, and Jim Hart was their quarterback for 20 years. Well, they always played a solid game, man. But I'm just going to wrap this up. I'll keep it short and sweet. It's a Bears win because they are a mess. Who's actually really going to be their starting quarterback this season?
Colt McCoy.
That's it. I forgot. So is Colt McCoy better than Justin Fields? Do they have a better offensive line than the Bears? Do they have a better defense than the Bears?
No.
I'm just going to say no, no, and no. Bears win. What do you got, Trips?
Well, there's a big-ass dumpster fire going on with that organization right now from the top all the way down. With the owner, the GM, with the grab ass, with the females and the new coaches, and he's being kind of weird, the defensive coordinator from Philly. So it's kind of odd what's going on out there. Is Kyler Murray, is he still going to be healthy? Is he going to be on Call of Duty, squadding up? I'm more of a battlefield kind of guy, myself, but I see this as a Bears victory.
What do you mean? What's going on with the defensive coordinator? I mean, the head coach, defense coordinator out there.
Well, he's the former defensive coordinator from Philly, is now their Arizona's head coach, replacing Kingsbury.
Right.
And he just strikes me as not head coach kind of guy.
Okay.
So I mean, he's just more fuel to that fire out there, and it's not a good, fire, in my opinion.
Wait, you're in the wrong order. There you
go. I say it's a Bears victory. Yeah, I'm with the other two. Honestly, there's a dumpster fire going on in Arizona, and I don't think they're going to get it changed around this year, especially with no real quarterback there. So victory.
Okay.
Victor Roma.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you guys. I think Kyler Murray will be back by this game, but I think their schedule their schedule is going to be so bad that they could just be at a point where they just want the season to be over. I agree with you, Triple R. I'm not really sure who that coach is and if he is a head coach or if he's a stopgap. And they're looking to just blow this season up, maybe try to get that first overall pick, try to get out of that Murray contract, which is absolutely horrible. I think they've made so many bad decisions the last few years, and it's caught up to them, and this is the season where they're going to be just really bad. Now, at the same time, I think Murray's got a lot to prove. And their overall schedule, they're going to be bad. Their overall record's going to be bad. But he may really have something to prove at the end of the year, and he may give us a good fight, but I would still expect to win.
Victory.
Victor
Ruski.
I have this as a win too. This is a hot weather dome team stadium coming into Chicago in December. That could be a train wreck. So I have that as a win too.
Cool.
Let's get on. So the next game is the Falcons, and this is at home again. So
go ahead, faster.
The Falcons they're going on like a second-year quarterback, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not my turn to talk.
Timer. Let's use the timer, man. That's what we got it for. Let's start using it.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Atlanta Falcons. This game is on CBS. It's in Chicago. I'm giving the Bears the win. It's a home field advantage. See, Atlanta, they don't scare me, but they played pretty decent last year. They could have won that division too. I think they had a lot of close games. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to give the Bears the win. They're at home. They've got a second-year quarterback. We've got Fields hopefully totally rolling in the right direction with everything by this late in the season. Roshan's running the ball. The defense is coming along nicely. So we end up spanking these guys by about 10 points.
Man, that's not a spanking.
That's a spanking, man.
It's not.
Somebody spanked you 3 times or 10. Which one's worse?
I don't like the way this conversation is going. I don't like this direction.
I'm muting myself.
No, with PJ, he would like the 10.
Man, my dad only had to hit me once and I was done. My mom, man, that was a different story. Yeah, I could take my mom's, but when my dad came home, it was a wrap. All right, go ahead, Triple O.
I have no idea who or what Atlanta is. I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. They got Pitts, the great tight end, but they weren't able to utilize him last year. And their defense, they signed a couple of older guys for the D-line. They lost a couple guys in free agency. So, I have no idea who the Falcons are, who they will be.
Bijan Robinson?
I mean, okay. Bears victory.
All right. I got the Bears victory as well. I'm just going to be strictly a homer here. We're going to beat them because, our current Bears players is better than their ex-Bear players.
Mm.
And general managers and
Because they got two of our old general managers down there too. Yeah, so
Yeah.
just Victorowski.
J2K. What do you think, man?
I think the Atlanta Falcons is going to be one of the surprise teams.
Mm.
Ooh.
I really liked what they did, what Dave
Dave
Ragoon, offensive coordinator, did with that offense with Marcus Mariota, who, I mean, they ran so much interesting stuff on offense. Cordell Patterson had a breakout year. They've got weapons on offense with Kyle Pitts, Drake London. Now they've got Bijan Robinson to go along with Cordell Patterson. The defense is kind of a little more, I think, the question mark for me. But I really like the direction they're going. I also really like Desmond Ridder coming out of college. He's not a big arm guy. He's not overly athletic. But when you look at all the skill sets that you want a quarterback to have, I mean, he's got at least a B- in every single category. He kind of reminds me of Jimmy Garoppolo when Jimmy Garoppolo was actually good. And he wasn't injured all the time. Guy moves the ball around the field really well. He's got enough mobility to get out of the pocket, to evade rushers. He plays smart. I watched him, I think he had 4 years at Cincinnati, and I watched probably his last 3 years pretty intently. And I think the arrow is totally pointed up for the Atlanta Falcons. And I don't think they play in a good division.
Oh.
So I'm calling it a loss.
Okay.
Yeah, it's time for J2K to leave the show now.
Yep.
All right, J2K. See you later, buddy.
Bring him back. That offense is loaded up. Better look at the offense again and look at this team better, guys. I need to.
Oh, so you're taking up for him. Okay, Foster, it's time for you to go.
Irish fuck off. All of a sudden, the big white box came up.
What you got, Shorty?
This is another one of those games. What's their all-time record? Bears, Falcons. Not that this really matters, but I like to know for my own sake. 15-14 all-time. So 1 game lead. I'm going Bears with this because it's at home.
All right, there you go. All right.
Yeah.
Good enough for me.
Easy. Okay, finally, we have the dreaded pricks coming back into town. This time, we collectively thought we were going to beat them the first game. How does this stack up here, guys? Is this a win or a loss? At Green Bay, time to be determined. So it still could be a primetime game again.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna. You guys are gonna hate this, but I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna say we're gonna lose that first game and we're gonna win this last one in Green Bay. I normally don't do this stuff with the home and away teams. I just think we won't. Maybe we won't be as ready that first game. They still got us in the 10-7 range, which it's just where I keep. I've seen too many things for no freaking reason where we've lost games over the years. No matter how prepared we are, no matter how good we are, it's just some weird shit where shit happens. I think that's we might get caught in that season. Caught in that kind of stuff this season, man. It will not be as bad as last year with the 1-score games. But so I'm switching. I'm gonna say, you know what? I won't even switch it. I'll just say we're gonna lose this one because we're gonna lose one of them. I think I really do. Usually, I'm gonna say we're gonna lose the away game. So that's just what I'll go with here because it's going to flip either way. I don't think we're going to sweep any of the teams in our division. I really don't. That's where I'm at. What do you
All
got,
right.
Trips? You can use my last 2 seconds. Oh well.
Yeah, I think
Not a
it'll
lot.
be a loss here because I said we beat Green Bay early in the first game, and I see it. Excuse me. I see this as a split year as well for the Packers. I don't see us sweeping them totally, but then again, they could be tanking for Wemby, so they may not be trying to win at all at that time of the season. Whereas I know that a Flus coach team is always going to be trying to win, so I'm still going to give it a split. With no good reason other than I think they're just going to split going into the season.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. All right. It's on me. So because I got us winning the first game, I got us winning this game. So get out the broom because we're sweeping. Let's go ahead and sweep them on out of there. Let's get them on out of there. Victory! Victory! Victory!
So I've got the Bears right around 9-7, 8-8 at this point of the game, the season, and obviously it's a division game, so we very much could be playing for that wild card spot. I think that the Lions or the Vikings take the division overall. I'm gonna go with the W. And I think we get into the playoffs through a wild card. Victory!
Victoruski!
Collectively, that just made us 11-6, guys.
Victoruski!
And that's possible. We look back. If you look back at what we were talking about last week when we all said our takes, I'm pretty sure I was at 9-7 and they backed into the playoffs, and you were unhappy with that, Shorty.
Oh, we just didn't like the fact that you was backing into anything.
That's well. Apparently, wait a minute. Apparently, it's okay with Triple R because he mentioned something about sticking a dildo on the wall and backing into it himself, and he wanted to know if he would be fucking himself. So, when we're talking about Triple R here, we have to set definitions because he's not your normal take.
I think that was kind of a paraphrase, but okay.
Trips, don't worry, I'm right with you too, dude. So we're together,
That was
brother.
kind of a paraphrase.
We're not the normal take. We're good.
Oh my goodness.
Not an exact quote, but all right. Okay.
You know me. I'm a little off, dude.
You know me, I'm a little.
No,
I've been hit on the head too many times. Oh man, I like how we all collectively got to 11-6 because that's. I said 11-6 last year for many other reasons I've already said for exhaustion, but I truly believe that 11-6 was possible this year, just because it didn't happen last year. So, I mean, I like that we collectively came to that. So now we can chant that as that's what we agree as BCP. You down with BCP?
you know
You
me,
know me.
dude.
Yeah, you know me.
Oh wait, I got to do this when you say that.
Did we not practice this?
No,
Nah.
I had this loaded up though.
We only practice on Thursdays. Matt told us.
You ever see Foster on the dance floor? Run.
We got to get Mammy in here
I'm
for
getting
the.
ready to go out to the bar, PJ.
Like I said, if we ever see you on the dance floor, run. Because you look
Wait
like
a minute.
you look like you was going to
Hey.
convulsions there, brother.
Hey, remember last week when I kind of messed up and I said, "All right, let's go to the bar and blah blah blah," and you said, and PJ raises his hand and he goes, "Who knew that Foster was serious? Because I did." So you asked that question last week. I'm going to answer it. You knew I was serious. I knew I was serious. My now ex-girlfriend knew that we were serious. And the girl that I'm fooling around with knew that I'm serious. She knew so bad, not only did she change her phone number, but she moved to Wisconsin and is now sleeping with her daughter's husband.
What
Gonna put a timer on me for that
soap opera
shit,
you
Shorty?
got going on here, man? What type of soap opera stuff is that?
Your daughter's
So in the last week, you broke up with your girlfriend, got
No.
another girl.
She left me because of what I said on air.
Hmm.
and then they
You
go
can't
and
make
kind of
this
just
up.
fooling around with.
Say, baby, you know that it's not real. It's just it's a persona. It's a show, baby. It's a show.
She's
We're
known me for
actors.
40 years, man.
I got a script right here. I swear, baby.
Yeah, I tried that. It didn't work on either one of them.
This guy right here, boy. Are you talking about bare your souls? This guy just baring everything right here.
Well, I'm free. If you want, I'll bare my ass.
I don't like the way that proposition sounded.
Hey, at least I'm not talking about the stuff Shorty talks about all the time, PJ.
Man.
I don't even want to mention it because it might go into it.
Here I am. I thought Jerry Springer died.
That was a fake. It was all fake.
Swifty asked, I think he was saying, what the fuck just happened to the music I was playing? So can I get all you guys, let's all at the same time say, you down with BCP, because I want to use it for I want to put that in the opener. So and on one, like if we can do all at the same time, on a 1, 2, 3, go. You down with BCP? Let's all scream it, like all yell it at the same time, and I want to use that for an audio clip.
Wait, so on 3 or on go?
So it'd be like 1, 2, 3. Or should we do it on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Can we do it? Can we do it after the show?
No, I can't because we have to have it recorded.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you know me.
You know me.
Yeah, so follow my hand. Ready? 1, 2. No, you got to say you down with BCP.
Okay, you down with BCP. And we shouldn't do this because it had nothing to do with what Swifty was talking about. He missed our funny conversation, but let's do it.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
You down with BCP?
Yeah, see that won't work. Swifty, give me Triple R. Give me your best one. Go. You down with BCP?
Wait, say that or yeah, you know me.
No, I want you to say you down with BCP. Give me
Okay,
your best
count me down.
one. No, just say it. Whatever you want.
Yeah, count me down.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
You down with BCP?
Now Triple R, you say. Or sorry,
Let's go.
PJ,
I just
PJ,
did.
you say.
If he confused me with another black guy, me and him fight. It used to be Samuel all the time. Now it's Triple R.
Well, I kept saying
he's gonna be confused with me and J2K because J2K got a black background. What's really going on, man? No.
One of you. Whatever.
You know what I'm saying? Me and him will be fighting in a minute. Kick him off his own show.
you gotta say it like in the song. You down with BCP?
You down with PCP?
Excellent. J2K, go.
You down with BCP?
Foster, go.
You down with BCP?
Give me one more, Triple R. Better than that. Better than the first one.
You down with BCP?
There you go. Now I'll get mine. You down with BCP? All right, I can use that. I can put the audio tracks together.
You down with HIV?
Damn.
No, Triple R. I want your best version of this so that I can put this as a video clip in the front of it. So go, hurry up, motherfucker. Say it in your own way.
Hurry up, motherfucker.
Excellent. Thank you. That's going to be in the future when that comes up. It'll be you going, hurry up, motherfucker.
I like Joe in the shit. Yeah, what you say, Joe?
So, guys, let's get on to our next. There was one more thing we wanted to do here tonight, which was a new segment that we want to start here called the Center of Attention. Foster, you can't pull up comments in there when there's something like that playing.
I tried.
That's it. You're fucking out of here. So
You out of here, Foster. You're gone. See you later. You're out of here.
Alan Williams. I kind of want to talk about Alan Williams a little bit, guys. Here, like, well, how do you guys feel he? Last year, there was a lot of people that didn't like him, didn't think he was doing a good job, and there's a lot of people that thought he didn't have enough tools in the bag to work with. And I'm one of those people. I think that he didn't have enough tools in the bag to work with. So what do you think with what they've done for him as far as the players that they've picked up? Do you think it's going to help Alan Williams? Are we going to see the real Alan Williams this year? Are we going to see a better like the true version that he really wanted us to see because he didn't have the tools last year? I'll let you go. Let's go on the horn again.
Repeat that. Talking to me?
Yeah, you're up next.
Okay.
Hey, putting up on the clock.
Yeah, put this.
Well, this is a segment. We're supposed to do 2 or 3 minutes each, so it's not.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want. Okay, we'll clock it, damn it. I went back today and I started watching all of his press conferences. Okay, and I love the things the guy's saying. I think his second or third press conference, he stopped the guy and asked him for his name. He said, "I want to get to learn your names," because he is a player's coach, man. He's involved. He wants to have a relationship with his players to enable them to be at their very best. He also said, man, we want to lead the world in hustle. That's one of his lines. I like that line. That's something I would say myself. The guy's got 22 years of NFL experience as a coach, and he's been a coach for 37 years, man. So the guy, I'm going to say he knows a little bit about football, you know. He's been on the defensive side of the ball in the NFL for 22 seasons. His mentor is Tony Dungy. That's how he got into football, was Tony Dungy. There's about 6 really good interviews, and I wish I could remember a bunch of the stuff he was saying. Again, I'm going off. What I did today was I tried to get to know the man, Alan Williams, not the coach. I mean, it's kind of thrown in there together because I can't get personal interviews of him. But I'm high on the guy. I think, and I think, Shorty, you mentioned this on Swifty's show.
That's not what you're high on, though.
He's high on life.
Well, an ex-cop ought to know.
I smell bacon.
Seriously, you guys. He is a player's coach who wants to have the relationships. And he said this. I'm not like saying this. I saw it on the interviews. He's been given some tools this year, which last year, you know, after week 5 or 6, when Roquan was gone and Quinn was going out the door, look at what he had to work with. I don't think I could give him a fair assessment until this season. I see Joe Treviso saying he won't be around in 24. That's not my decision. What I'm saying is I like the guy's attitude. I can't really – we've talked about this. How much stuff can we judge from last season looking at that roster? You know, completely different roster, man. And it's gonna change a lot more before the season gets here. I think it is, man. I think you're gonna see some guys drop off because you know, and I've said this 1,000 times, Poles is searching and searching 24/7. It doesn't end. It doesn't end to make this team better. You have to be relentless. And I'm hoping Alan Williams is that kind of guy too, because his last presser that I saw was from right before the draft, and he was very excited to possibly see some of the players that he was going to get. You could almost see him there like this in the presser. I could picture him doing this. Man, I can't wait till this draft because I already got some great fucking guys to work with, man. I'm going to get 2 or 3, 4 more guys back here, and I'm going to make this the shit. I don't know if I'm right, but that's the way I feel after watching the guy for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So that's my take on it. I'm not going to judge him till 10, 12 weeks in the season. Let's see what the guy can do with some real talent and some ability that he has not been given that opportunity prior. You know, he wasn't given that opportunity last year, that's for sure. I don't know who could have done anything with that defense once Quinn and Roquan were gone, because I'd like to go out on the street and ask Bear fans how many names they know of the 11 on the defense last year. And really, I'm going to say 14 or 15, and I'll bet you most people can only say 5 or 6 of them because we know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a grade for Mr. Williams yet. I'm going to make that judgment through this season because, like I said, he's been given some tools to work. It's like me trying to do a roof with a kitty hammer, trying to nail 1.5-inch roofing nails in a roof with one of those little 6-ounce hammers. I need a 20-ounce fucking banger. 6-ounce hammer ain't gonna cut it. I'm gonna be sitting there all fucking day. I got the right tool. I could do a good job. So hopefully that's where he's at, man.
Will somebody
Very
take the
passionately
microphone away from Foster, please?
I just did.
That was very passionately said, Foster. How many here agree with that? Triple R?
I think now is the season that Williams, along with everybody else, has no excuses. Last year was the first year of a tear down and all that stuff, and no talent or lesser talent to work with. Now he's got some thickians right up the middle, up the front to get pressure on that D line, that young drafted talent. He's got experienced linebackers with Edmonds and Edwards, and then young linebacker talent, athletic. Then with the secondary and the influx of all the cornerbacks coming in and possible safety upgrades, there is no reason or excuse that Alan Williams should not be able to be creative and utilize these different pieces in different ways because they are so flexible and versatile. So you can have, guys rushing from different positions, covering from different positions, and pre-snap, the offense won't know how to read it because they don't know who's coming, who's not. He has the tools now to convert to a 3-4 for a few series here and there, just to change up the look, because now he has the tools to have linebackers that can cover as well as rush and watch the run and, all the pieces in between.
I love it. I'm agreeing with both of you. What do you think, PJ?
I think I would give him an incomplete grade based upon the fact that he had no horses last year. I liked what he did with making adjustments. Seemed like our halftime adjustments for most of the season. Not all. In some games it fell short, but most of the season our halftime adjustments was pretty good, I thought. We never did have a pass rush and finished up the year with 20 sacks. We never really addressed that with what we've done in free agency as far as edge rushers. So I don't know how much improved that is. If we so happen to get another edge rusher or two in this off season, I think he'll make a drastic jump, because I overall think he's a pretty good coach. I mean, watching what he done with what he had, because now we actually have some horses, and he has a background of defensive backs, and we even gave him more defensive backs to work with. So yeah, I think he'll do well this year. That's my belief.
Nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys. I think last year was hard to grade him as a coach and a play caller and a scheme guy. While I do think our defense is another year away, because we do need a true edge rusher. I think the Walker signing and Billingsley signing are actually pretty underrated. And I think as the season goes on, Dexter and Pickens will get enough rotation and play well enough that the collective group on the defensive line will be better. Not where we want it to be, but our linebackers and our secondary is stacked. So going into this year, and I feel this way across the board about all of our coaches, is I really am going to grade them a lot harder than I did last year. I expect them to win next season.
I do too. I know everything that you guys are saying is you all make great points. They added Edwards and Edmonds, the linebackers. That's going to make a huge difference with having Tremaine Edmonds roam the middle of the field. That's the guy that Flus wants in this defense, that Alan Williams wants in this defense. The secondary was already strong last year, and they just added to it. I really like that. I'm really curious to watch that. What was it? The second cornerback that we got, to Terrell Smith.
Smith,
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Very excited to see what he's going to do with his length and athleticism and speed and body control. Stevenson, very excited about that kid, adding that kid to the secondary. And we drafted another linebacker that could be pretty damn good in this defense and used situationally. I like that pick. The defensive line, we doubled down on defensive tackle. Yes, we are missing the edge rusher, but we'll see what happens. We're still not done here. Any more can happen. You've already talked about it. Everything's already. Everything's not finished. We can. There's still more players that could be signed. So I'm not really all that worried about it. And I think there could be some blitzing coming out of some more blitzing that we might be seeing this year. If you look at a lot of the tape as we did during the draft, both of those cornerbacks that they drafted did a lot of cornerback blitzes.
Yeah.
And so did the linebacker that we got blitzing and plugging holes. So I think that he didn't have the toolbox last year, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do with it this year. If he gets into week 10 and it's what we're seeing some of the people in chat saying he'll be gone by 24 and things like that. Yeah, we'll find out. But I think that for the time being, give him the benefit of the doubt, and let's see what he can do with some more players added to his basket.
Thanks, Shorty. Can I throw one thing in? I'm addressing a bunch of people in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And this is regarding the defense last year. First off, the guy doesn't have the tools. So sometimes he's going to tell his guys to play off because they can't cover, especially when you got all your starters on the bench or injured. Mm-hmm. Second off, I wonder how many times they said, no, don't adjust. At the end of the season when we were losing, trying to maintain that second pick, because somebody was saying, oh, he wouldn't make adjustments. I'm going, well, is there any way possible that they were saying that he's like, oh, I can make these adjustments? And they're like, don't, because we really don't want to win this game. I'm not saying that happened, but we've all talked about tanking to get where they're at, because who would have thought they would have? I never thought they were going to get the first pick in the draft at the beginning of last year. Did any of you guys think that?
No.
Did you, PJ?
Yeah, me and Poles talked about it.
I was offended when the Sports Illustrated said they were.
Me too.
Well, hey, I want to jump in on the scheme talk.
Do it.
First off, I think PJ was right on that we did make halftime adjustments to what the other team was doing.
Yes.
And I think Alan Williams did make smart adjustments. I think obviously we lack talent.
Right.
The other criticism of him is, should have blitzed more. We should have switched more man, should have gotten out of those zones. Well, first off, the zones that we were playing, the rookies playing them, were not playing them very well. Brisker and Gordon both struggled to be at the right point at the right time, and just to understand where they need to be and why as the play is happening. I did see Williams adjust and start blitzing more. I did see us start running stunts more, and it was completely ineffective because the players just were not talented enough to blitz and have less people in the secondary, or even when we did blitz, we got 5 guys rushing and all 5 guys get blocked one-on-one.
Right.
So I'm not high on Alan Williams, but I can't be low on the guy either.
Right.
So this year is the year that I think you really start grading Alan Williams as a defensive coordinator.
Well, let me ask J2K a quick question. Do you think even with our lack of defensive end still, can you truly give him a true assessment even this year?
I think Walker is actually a very underrated signing.
Yes.
And I actually am a little more optimistic about Travis Gibson, because what I saw from how he rushed the quarterback when he was with Fangio, and I forget, Desai was the next defense coordinator.
Right.
They asked him to rush the quarterback in a very different way. Last year, and in this defense, our defensive ends play a lot more containment. So there's a little more of an arc. There's a little more of keep your head up, watch for the RPOs, watch for all these things. It's not just everybody's kind of flying in on the play, and the interior defensive line is clogging up the middle with Hicks and Goldman and little Nichols. So even though I do think the defensive ends, we still need that stud pass rusher. Mm-hmm. Dominique Robinson,
right?
He may take a step up, and he's got the makeup of a true defensive end athlete,
right.
And he's just got to get the technique down, and he's just got to be a better pro. He's got to study that playbook, study that offensive tackle he's going against. Mm-hmm. I'm optimistic about him, but I'm unsure. Mm-hmm. I think Gibson actually has the best chance, and Walker, of those two having the best statistical chance at edge, just because they played a lot more ball. I think Gibson has a better idea on how to rush in this defense. And with Billingsley stopping the run, our two other rookies, I do think that we've got enough in the interior. It may come on stronger at the end of the year because of the youth, but I think there is enough there that, given how good our secondary is and our linebackers are, I still wouldn't be afraid of grading Williams hard because he doesn't still have that true defensive end. Once we get that true defensive end, I think this defense is going to be lights out.
All right, another question regarding that real quick.
Yeah.
Because Walker comes from a 3-4 where he played defensive end there.
Right.
In a 4-3, that translates more to a defensive tackle. So do you think he would have success as a true defensive end in this system where that's something he didn't play in Tennessee because they was more so using him as a defensive tackle within their system? So I think it's a different type system. So I don't think he'd be able to have that quickness off the edge.
Well, I think he's actually a little more of a quicker defensive end tackle than the position suggested. So playing a lot of that 5-tech and stuff,
right
over there. Right. Oh shit. There I am. All right. So I think he's quicker. He was a little undersized, I think, for that position. But I think going to defensive end, I think that's his better fit in this defense. But he's a guy who can come down to the 3-tech on passing downs, but on obvious runs down, first downs, I think he's going to be more of an edge. I think he's more of a left defensive end in this scheme. And much like Tuli Tuipulotu was in the draft, where I thought he's a defensive end in a 4-3 and not a 3-tech. Walker reminds me a lot of that guy. I think Walker is actually really quick.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, because I know in Tennessee, he had somebody on his outside rushing, and he was rushing more so over the guard, not so much the tackle. So here, if he's playing defensive end, he's going to be rushing over the tackle. And I don't know if he has the speed, per se, to get around that tackle. I really don't believe he has the strength to get around that tackle. So that's why I think he uses quickness over the guards in that former system, whereas now he's going to be going against tackles, and I don't expect as much production.
I agree with you that he's a tweener.
Right.
I think that's a good label for him. I do think he is quick. I don't think he's that edge rusher that we really need in this defense. And I think going from that 3-tech to that edge, I think he was an underrated signing. So, and we'll see in the season how it goes. But I think he can play left defensive end in this system. I wouldn't put him there on 3rd and 12, but 1st and 10, 2nd and 6, whatever. Right. I would kind of have him more on the edge to ensure that we do stop the run. And I think we are going to play. I think our coverage system with Tremaine Edwards being athletic enough to cover the center of the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that with Gordon and Brisker being able to play close to that line, that nickel and that kind of box safety,
Right.
I think we're going to kind of see, it's almost like a pass rush by committee.
Okay.
So, and I think Alan Williams, he does kind of keep things simple,
Mm-hmm.
but he does have the opportunity right now to do some interesting things on defense where he's, blitzing a corner, blitzing a safety, and kind of mixing things up. Walker running a stunt from left defensive end, into the A gap, stuff like that, which is what I hope I see from Williams, not the cookie cutter stuff we saw at the beginning of the season last year.
Yeah. That is really well said, man. Guys, we have a shitload of starred questions and comments from chat. I think we should get to
Let's get to them.
wrap up the show so this doesn't go 6 hours again. Let's see, what do you have
Well, I just went back into it.
I saw one in here I wanted to pull up.
Uncle fucking Foster.
Eric,
There's a bunch
Eric,
of them. Okay, go ahead.
Eric Sullivan says the entire Bears is awesome now. I could live on YouTube with you guys. Never been this updated and involved with fans. Pretty great. Thank you very, very much, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
That.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, Eric.
Right on.
Like we said earlier, like Triple R was saying, you can email the show and join us anytime you would like to.
Like and subscribe, Eric. Hang out, man. I see him in Swifty's chat all the time, Eric. I see you all the time in there, dude.
And he says, my girl hates you guys. Swifty, BCP, Barm, keep getting on because my TV is always on Bears content.
Well, hey, Eric, my girls just left me. Swifty's getting a divorce. PJ's going to get divorced sooner than later, the way you keep talking. So we can all hang out together, man. As a matter of fact, you know what we forgot to mention? Anything about PJ? Swifty. We forgot to mention, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, people who live in the northwest and western suburbs have an opportunity to party with Foster.
There you go.
So
That's
I'm gonna get some information. I'll put some information up on the board before we sign out. Maybe you could start working the questions while I go to the bathroom, and then I'll write a little thing out. But Eric, come on the show, man. Discuss this shit with us in person, man.
That's
I'd love
scary.
to have you, dude.
That's scary.
I see the stuff you write in Swifty's chats. I pay attention. I don't remember because I'm lost, but I see it. Shut up, PJ.
Get to hang
I'm
out
waiting
with
for a comment from you, dude.
Get to hang out with Foster. That's a scary thought, isn't it?
Why don't we?
Well, he's in there
Dan
enjoying
did
his
it for like an
diarrhea.
hour and then he bailed, man. Couldn't take the pressure.
What-
Hold on. I just got one thing to say about that.
Crap.
Did he not say? Correct me if I'm wrong. Did I not hear him say, "Both my girls left me"? Who are you, an old time pimp? what is
You
this?
could have heard the story he told me the other day.
Don't repeat that one, dude. You're gonna get in huge trouble.
Man, these bitches be tripping.
This dude, he is old school pimp.
Oh my god, you would think so. Why don't we stick on like the same? There's a lot of different things in there. Why don't we stick on the same person until we get all of them done? We can kind of go person by person.
We could do that.
Eric says, how long do you guys think it will take JF1 and the offense to get in sync out of the gate?
I'm going within 4 to 7 weeks, probably the later. 6, 7, 8 weeks, man. They're gonna have, by that time they'll have what, 9 games in, PJ, with the preseason and everything? 3, 6, say 3 preseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a game 4.
Oh, you say game 4? I'm going 4 to 7 weeks. I think they'll be flowing right. I'll let you guys finish that. I got to go to the bathroom and make a little note here, okay?
Yeah, we have them at 6-1 in the first 7 games, so I would say out of the gate.
You got to make a note while you go to the bathroom. Is that what you said?
Yes.
I think
my mind is so bad, PJ. I got to fix. I got to remind myself that I got to crap.
I got to change my diaper.
Oh Lord. Oh, can't take y'all nowhere.
I got to change my diapers. It's 11 o'clock. I got to change my diapers.
My timer went off to change my timer.
And he wonders why the women left.
Oh man,
This dude, man. Foster give you too much to work with. All right.
All right, but I think it's going to take time for the offense to get in rhythm and rolling. I think a lot of the earlier victories that I project are because of the defense more so than the offense, and I have the offense doing more of the load carrying at the end of the season or later towards the season. But it's going to take a while to, Darnell Wright, as big and as bad as he is, he's still a rookie. He's going to have to adjust to the speed. He's going to have to adjust to what he's seeing. He's going to have to get used to Nate Davis to his left. The center and the guard positions, we still don't know. We hope Braxton Jones has been, squatting and in that weight room, getting that, that anchor fixed. Khalil Herbert, he might be playing for his Bears' future career, because not really sure that Poles and crew likes him as much as, let's say, a Rojo or a Deontay Foreman or even an Ebner, even though Ebner we don't know. But I think it'll just take a while before they get rolling. I would say a month, 5-6 weeks before it's like, okay, now we can look to the offense to win us games as our defense has gotten figured out, and exposed because they're young.
Real quick, I said 4 games. I think in the first few games we're going to depend heavily on the run game, get those guys in sync. I think that's how the games that we win, we'll win it through the run game. I think actually Fields may actually run more towards the beginning of the season too, and then kind of fall back and start passing more. So I think it'll take a while before the offense get in sync, like the 4th game. But those first 3 games, I think we'll be winning and playing with the run game and relying on our defense. Although I don't think our defense will be as good as it will be later, but that'll be the formula. Run game, defensive game, probably special teams is how we will win. Go ahead, J2K.
Yeah, I think you guys all made really good points. Like I said, when we're doing the schedule, Game 5, it's Washington Commanders Thursday night. Justin Fields coming out party.
yes. I love that. Justin Fields is going to be awesome this year, guys. That's all I know. Hope I'm right.
What did I miss? Because I heard Triple R exposing himself to young people or something.
I think this is going to be one of the funnest seasons that we have ever watched as a Bears fan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I love the Urlacher days, Briggs, Tommy Harris, Mike Brown, watching that defense. This is going to kind of be a different thing. Justin Fields scoring points, bailing his defense out when other teams drives down on us.
Right.
Justin Fields comes back and that reminds me, Luke Getsy, he had the second best offense on a first drive of a game, 6 points behind the Eagles.
Wow. Okay.
It seemed like this, J2K, that when they scripted that stuff to start the game, it seemed like that stuff worked better than at any other time.
Well, yeah, and what I think happens, though, is when, the script, I think the script really tells you the offensive coordinator. How good can they scheme up an offense on that first 25 plays?
Right.
But after that, when the other team goes, okay, this is what you're doing, we're going to counter you on this and do this and that to go against what your script is, that comes down to players. Because once the other team figures out, hey, you're doing this because you can't do that, well, we're going to target what you can't do, and we're going to force you into a pickle because you just don't have the talent. So I think it's a nod to Luke Getsy that he's a really good offensive coordinator that's dealing with a pretty bad roster.
Okay, real question. Real quick for Foster. Because this offense is we predict will be fun. I just want to know: do you think this offense will be more fun than the time when you used to watch Sid Luckman?
You know what? I'll answer that question, dude. Because if you pull out some film of Sid Luckman back in the early 40s and you watch some of the shit that he was doing in the 40s, Mahomes reminds me of Luckman. Running outside, throwing it against the grain, throwing a sidearm. Go back and see what you can dig up about 1940, 1942.
I'm asking you.
I'm just going to say, you asked about Sid Luckman. I know we were joking, but that dude, if he was in a thing, he could play today.
Hey, I take you at your word because I know you was there, so I take you at your word, bro.
Did I just put my foot up my own ass?
In your mouth.
Hey, Triple R, where's that dildo, dude? Because I think somehow I am fucking myself.
Look, man, you can go to www.orderyourownshit.com.
All right, next question.
I messed up, Shorty. I didn't know who you were working with. Sorry.
It's okay. I got it from here, buddy. Retro says, poll time. Who would like to see me on the next BCP show?
Yeah,
Right here.
for sure.
Right here.
Dude. We want
Everybody.
you on. Come on, take a link next week, man. We might have some real good stuff cooking too next week.
You got the Huevos Holmes.
Next week we might have two additional guests on next week, so that might not work out. But definitely email, because if we don't, then we'll have you on for sure. Or the week after.
The week after, we can have them on for the center of attention the following week, dude.
Uh-huh.
I think that'd be real good. I'd like to get his take on shit, and then maybe I can slap him for all the shit he's been saying about me in the chat for the last 3 fucking weeks.
Everybody.
Yeah, but he's got
everybody.
I tell you, Paul. Yeah, well, I guess I don't know. It's cool. We're good. Shut the fuck up, Foster.
Bring him on just for his one-liners.
Man.
Let's go with Doug Van Dorn. Let's see. I think that after week 9, the worst outcome will be 5-4. The best will be 7-2. I sort of expect 6-3. So he's kind of on board with us there too.
Yeah.
And he also says that I really do think that the league is trying a worst to first narrative around the Bears this year. A lot of little details pointed to me. That is well said. That could be.
Shout out to Doug Dorn. He's been doing a good job being in the chat every week. So
absolutely.
And you need to come on the show too, Doug.
I don't like
Doug is all over the place. Not as much as T-Dub, Torian.
Oh man,
but Doug is all over the place getting his Bears content on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Love it.
I don't like cats.
Love it.
Let's see what else we have from Doug in here.
Did you guys see the one? Oh man, I forgot it. I gotta look. Sorry.
All right, we'll just pass it. There's another one from Doug in here. Here you go. Bears go 17-0 and 23. You heard it here first, and likely last 2.
And now I'm gonna say Doug be getting high as a motherfucker though too. So take it with a grain of salt.
Babe.
Let's see. I think that's it for Doug saved. Let's see. We have Leo Factor saying, question for later. If we struggle to pressure the QB, how do you think our season plays out?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, boss. You first. My bad.
If we struggle to pressure the QB, how do you think our season plays out?
6-11.
Well, if we're struggling to pressure the quarterback early, Poles will do the thing that he needs to do, which is probably pick up the phone and try and make a trade. Maybe not. Maybe he won't do it this year because we're all talking. Like we've said 100 times, dude. We're not going to fix all this shit in 1 year. It's just going to play out the way it's going to play out. I mean, if we're struggling and we start losing. Yeah. It depends on where we're at in the season. When are we struggling? If we're immediately struggling to get pressure, he might go out and do something. Or they might just make changes on the defense, or who knows? I'm not going to expect him to do something big this year because I really think he's saving all this crap so that after the draft coming up, he can make all these big moves. Because we got to, with these 1-2 year contracts, we still got a ton of money for next year too. I don't know if people realize how much money it's going to be because he's signing these 1 and 2 year contracts enables him to do that with the salary cap where we have these big fluctuations. I don't know. You know what? It's a tough question on that.
Yeah, Leo seems to be pretty worried.
Or he could not and leave it and then start dumping some of the weak links again and maybe getting a couple extra picks. Maybe lowering our draft pick again. You know, that unintentional, intentional. I'm not going to say like last year, but there's too many ways it can play out, I think. Because he's got options, man. If that line starts struggling early and we're getting no pressure and it's 4 games into the season and we got 3 sacks, I would expect him to do something about it, even if it's not a serious permanent move. Doesn't he got to spend that money by April?
Yeah.
DJ? So he's sitting on $29 or $30 million that he's got to spend by April of 24. There could be somebody in the mix. But I'm going to go back to what J2K said. I don't think we're going to – I think we have a little more at defensive end than we all think, even myself. I think there's more to it than we see. We don't know what he's working on right now because there's going to be some free agents. Dude, what if Carl Lawson was on the Bears right now? You just add him and that's it. What do you think then? Then we're going to get some pass rush. We're going to get some pass rush. We're going to get –
all of Leo's comments in here have to do with pass rush. He seems pretty worried about it. How confident are you our pass rush and our run defense will improve? And the last comment I just had up.
Go ahead, Triple R. You want to answer that?
I think our defensive ends and pass rush edge guys with Walker. What's Buddy's name? Reeves.
Reeves? Seattle.
No, our defensive end
From Seattle.
I don't remember where he's from.
Spearman?
The one we just signed, right?
Wait, I can't hear you.
The one we signed in free agency this summer?
It begins with an R.
You're talking about the one we signed in free agency, right?
Yeah, Rivers. I can't remember his name, but he's a defensive end. His name Reeves or Reese or
played in Seattle and played in Houston last year.
Yeah, what's his name?
It begins with an R, I think.
Yeah, I just said.
Talking about though, yeah.
Yeah, him, the R guy, and then Gibson. We don't know. And then DA, the young guys and whoever they bring in. But I don't think that's a priority because we don't need to spend money on a Clark or Ngakwe or any veteran to bring us 7 sacks. Would 7 sacks be nice? Sure. But we are, in my opinion, are not fighting for a Super Bowl right now. So let the young guys develop, see if we can bring along an edge that we don't have to break the bank for, who's already older, who's not going to be in his prime when we're in our winning window. So let the rush come from up the middle now, because I don't think Big G or Pickens can be blocked, on the interior of most offensive lines one-on-one. And then with the increased athletic ability and coverage of the linebacker core and the upgraded secondary, I think that kind of will offset the pass rush until, we can address it maybe, if not next year's draft with some of the money, but, taking guys in their 3rd or, 4th year that teams can't afford that we don't know will be available yet. Like a Chase Young, but healthy.
Rasheem Green.
Thank you. Rasheem Green, thank you.
That was a squeegee. To answer the question,
it wasn't a R, it was a G. His first name.
First name's R.
There we go.
I think that the pass rush will be better based upon our interior getting the push up the middle, which will cause our defensive ends to get more sacks just by being in the right place at the right time, because you get that interior rush forcing the quarterback backwards. the defensive ends to run right into him. I personally don't think we have a current pass rusher who's that alpha, who's that guy who's going to demand double teams or get sacks or double-digit sacks by himself. I think adding a veteran, be it Chase Young, Leonard Floyd, or both, I think you can have that guy who can win a one-on-one. And when you have those interior guys pushing up the middle, those guys can still be able to get you those double-digit sacks. I think that Gibson and Robinson, they are like Robins to a Batman. They're like a secondary guy to where if somebody else is getting double teamed, they can probably get you 7 to 8 sacks. I think that's who they are. So I think getting a veteran will help us. And eventually, with a good pass rush, I see us as a playoff team.
Yeah, I think to answer his question specifically, if we can't get a pass rush, then I think we go into a shell coverage, and the pressure is going to be on Getsy and Fields to basically keep up scoring points. However, I am more confident about our run defense going into this year, and I am hoping that, like we're talking about, pass rush coming from the interior is what is going to improve our overall pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
But,
That was
and one other comment too. Also, our linebackers. I think our linebackers are far better at filling than the linebackers we had last year. And as well as Sanborn played, these guys, I just think they have so much more talent, so much more game tape and experience. So I think they're going to help out the run defensive as well.
I'm going to defer everything to what you guys just said. That was all very well said. I love it. We got one more question from Leo, which is just make this one quick. You guys, what about? I think Roschon Johnson doesn't have much change of direction. Thoughts? I'll just quickly say that I think that the style of offense he's playing in is going to suit him well because of that. But he's a bruiser too, so I mean, I don't think that they were really looking for a shifty change of direction back like that. They were looking for more of the type back that they got with him. That's my thoughts.
I agree with you. I want to look at more tape. I think Swifty's got something out on this guy. Somebody does too. I've seen it. I just can't remember who. So I want to look at more tape on him. But I say the dude's going to be our number one back before this. I think I said before week 10, he'll be playing. He's going to be our regular back, and he's going to get more time than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
The shift, this change of a direction, you know what? I haven't taken a good enough look at it. I don't know if anybody got anything else.
I think he looks like a baller. His attitude, everybody loves. His quick twitch in the shift. I don't know. He seems to not have an issue, getting caught from behind. He runs people over. So, I mean, maybe he can't make a miss in a hole, but if he runs him over, I'm good with that.
To answer the question, I agree with Leo that he doesn't have much shift and change of direction. I think he's more of that power back. I think, he's good, but he's not shifty, and he's not got that blazing breakaway speed either.
But we had to shiftier back with Monty, and that didn't really work in this offense.
He was shifty, but he wasn't fast.
Right.
That was his problem. He could like juke you in the hole, but he didn't have that breakaway speed. Right. So I think this guy, he doesn't even have that, but he has more. He has power, but he doesn't have speed either.
Well, but the thing is, all of his highlights, once he gets free, he never gets caught from behind. So he may not have that track, like 4.3, picking the top 10 running back like Gibbs and Detroit speed.
Right.
But he ain't getting caught from behind like Monty was either.
Oh, he's going to get caught in the NFL because he's only running a 4.57. So, he's getting caught from behind in the NFL. Maybe not in college as much, but in the NFL, he's going to get caught.
No, possibly, but not as much as Monty. Let it go.
What's the top speed of a player in the NFL?
Was it 23 miles per hour?
So
Isn't that what it is, J2K?
So my overall with Roshan, and I'll answer the question in a second. As far as his speed is concerned, I think his speed is very underrated. I think the 40 time had a lot to do with him not being able to practice coming out of a 3-point stance because he had the broken wrist from the Senior Bowl. So I don't think it's too fair to use that 4.57 as what are we looking at? As his official speed, because I think he plays a lot faster. As far as his shiftiness, his lateral movement, I think the strengths that he has fits the wide zone scheme far better. And what you really do want from a running back in this system is when he gets the handoff to the ball, he needs to read the linebackers. He also needs to influence the linebackers on which hole to go to. And in this offensive scheme, he's really got 3 holes that he can hit. And the idea is that you don't want to be
DJ. Stop it, DJ. Stop it, DJ. Stop it. Damn. You know people's mamas is listening to this.
Right. I'll give you guys a minute. Too many holes for BJ. You couldn't resist it.
DJ's all over the shocker, isn't he? He was like 3 holes. Wait, I know what to do.
3 holes. I got 1. I got 2. What's the third hole?
I'm trying to run this over here. I'm not even looking at PJ, and I can just hear him.
All right. So the idea is you don't want to meet a linebacker in the hole. Really, in this scheme, is you really want to influence them out of the hole. And God, I just feel like I'm going to say something wrong any moment. Can't get away. Penetrating.
J2K, that's my job. Just blame it on me.
So.
You gotta be so careful around PJ.
All seriousness.
He's just waiting. He's lurking around every turn, man.
Work around my turn. All right. In all seriousness, he's a one-cut runner.
Yeah.
And I think that he reads defenses well. He's got really good contact balance. And the acceleration that he goes from gear 1, 2, and 3, I think it's very underrated. And I do think he has long speed. Now, he's not a burner, but I think his speed is very underrated. I did watch some film of him playing special teams. And I mean, the guy plays like a downhill linebacker in special teams. And he's one of the first guys to get to the ball carrier out of everybody. And this is in college, but I mean, he shows he's got long speed in the film that I've watched. So overall, I think he's a perfect running back for this system, and his lateral agility isn't something that I'm as concerned with, given you want a one-cut running back. And Chase Brown is a good example. There's a speed back that doesn't have a lot of wiggle, but man, when he plants that foot and he hits that hole, PJ, you're not going to jump in on that one?
We'll let you finish on that one. So you was waiting, though.
I was waiting for you on that one. He was a perfect wide zone running back in the draft, and I thought he was a good fit for the Bears. But, Roshan, with his size, his catching ability, his pass blocking, being a one-cut runner, I have very little concerns. However, I do think it is going to be a running back by committee. I think guys are going to have roles. Roshan's going to play heavy on special teams. So as much as I think he's got the talent to be the number 1 back, I think his snaps are going to be limited because he's going to play basically, you'll be like a 4-phase special teamer.
Well said. Okay, well said.
I'm sad now,
you
man.
navigated that well at the end.
I'm sad now because you said you said something about going into the hole, J2K, and my girlfriend would have laughed and giggled with that, but she's not here anymore, so I'm depressed.
Oh my goodness. You guys are.
I'm sorry to hear about your girlfriend not being there, though.
Well, it's because you said, who believes this, man? And she believed you, damn it. No. I told you, there's only 4 of us that knew you were telling the truth, and it was 2 of them happened to be my girlfriend. So.
Dang.
Oh, let's see. I think that's we're getting at close to the end of this show here, guys. I think 3.5 hours is pretty good.
I thought it was some more questions.
More questions?
Well, Foster put every single fucking question in the starred category, and most of them were retro, making fun of us all. So I had to remove all those.
So we could do shout outs, and I'll just throw all Retro's comments up in a row.
Oh my goodness. I like what Mo Bierman here says, though. Too bad they don't release the ref schedules as well.
That's the one I was looking for, man, because that'll change every game we pick.
No shit, especially that Raiders game.
You're going to be stuck on that Raiders game all year, aren't you?
Yeah.
I thought.
Oh, I saw a good question. What position outside of defensive end are we most worried about?
That's a good question.
Center, because I don't know who's going to be fucking healthy in week 8.
Yeah, center Whitehair. He has the experience that I know that they're banking on, but his physical abilities have been falling off a cliff the last couple years. What up, Cliff and Mr. Meatloaf? And Patrick, he can't stay on the goddamn field. First he hurts his toe or his pinky, then he hurts his pinky or his toe or whatever the hell. But his extremities are very
shove up his nose.
He needs to, tape up some toes and fingers to the next one or something. So you can't guarantee or rely on him being on the field. So I mean, it's just center is a suspect position in me.
I was at Nickelback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, although they got Gordon penciled in there, I thought Gordon played better as a outside corner as opposed to a nickelback.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go anywhere on the offensive line. I think we're one injury in the offensive line from kind of being in a little bit of a mess, and we're 2 injuries away from guys that have never started being starters.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
I agree with you on that. How do you feel? Do you think we're set at wide receiver?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think definitely offensive line, and some little more depth, like you said. I'm still worried about Tevin Jenkins,
Right.
and then probably I mean, obviously, other than defensive line, would have to be, I guess, nickelback or like additional linebacker help.
Yeah, because I think, like you guys say about the offensive line being 1 injury away, but being in trouble. Same way with the linebackers. I mean, we have probably Sewell, if he's not starting, him or Sanborn, that'll be our only reliable.
Yeah,
that we're aware of. That we're aware of.
That we're aware of. Yeah, I agree.
You're dead on right, PJ.
and then not to ignore our buddy Cliff, but to play devil's advocate. Sorry, we're taking your question last, Cliff. We saved the best for last. To play devil's advocate, what do the Bears do if they still stink? And I say they start making meatloafs at midnight
and vacuuming their fucking lawn.
I think you have to actually look at what makes them stink, because like we were saying, the most noticeable glaring hole right now is defensive end, and outside of that, we should be competent, and if we stinking, that means we're having problems at more than just defensive end.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because I think, our coaching staff, I think, is pretty competent. I think Poles did a good job of putting this team together. So I think we're in a good position to have above 500 record, even if we don't have an elite pass rush. I think we have a good pass rush, we're really close to 12 wins. So I don't know. I just think that we'll be all right.
Like
I agree.
like J2K was saying, we're 1-2 injuries away from, fighting for another top 10 draft pick, from our own pick. And if we do suck, I mean, all right, it's not a huge deal as long as we can see the competitive spirit and the upper end of the high side and potential of these younger last year rookies and these rookies, that there is an upside to them that we can see, oh yeah, these kids are ascending. They just need more time together. And if we have a losing record because of that, it won't be happy, or we won't be satisfied, but it won't be for naught, as in it's like, oh, these picks all sucked, they don't fit, they shouldn't be in NFL. But either way, if we do suck and look good or suck and look bad, we got those 2 first-round picks next year, so they can turn stuff around real quick.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
Foster, do you want to go before I answer?
I just want to say this, man. This is the least worried I've been. I'm worried almost every season going into the season, except for 84, 85, all those years in there, and then again 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I have not been this not worried with having a losing team the year behind me. This has never happened. I'm not. That's even in the draft, man. I started looking at UDFA 5th, 6th, and 7th rounders right away because I'm like, I don't have to do this shit. Poles has got it covered. PGT. And he did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just not as worried as a lot of people are, man. And no matter what happens this season, if we get 7 wins, 6, 7 wins, I'll be okay with it. I won't be happy, but I'll be okay with it because I know there's a process that we have to go through so that we have good frontline talent, the best quality depth we can get. Ain't going to happen in 1 year. It ain't going to happen in 2. It usually takes 4 or 5, and he'll be able to pull it off in 3. So I am not as worried as a lot of people are about the Bears, man.
Right.
That's all I got with that, dude.
Final thoughts before we wrap it up.
Hi to the girls in Wisconsin. Love my family and my kids. I love you guys. And if you're lucky, you'll see me again. Wait, no, if I'm lucky, I'll see you next week.
You doing your shots out already?
I was going to answer that question.
Thank you.
Real quick. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys. I think without knowing why they stink, it's hard to answer the question. But if we just kind of skip that part, next year we got 2 first-round picks. We've got plenty of cap space. I think we've got plenty of opportunities to fix whatever it was that broke. So I'm optimistic, and I'm with Foster on being very optimistic about this coming season and the future.
I ain't trying to go on and on, but Shorty, can I ask a question in regards to that question right there?
No.
Okay.
What's your question? I'm just kidding.
Is there a position outside of defensive end do you think we didn't do a good enough job of addressing this offseason?
No. I think that's a no for me. Make that a one-word answer, everybody.
No.
Walker?
Could have done no. We've done what we could, man.
No.
Yeah.
What about you, J2K?
Fucking J2K.
Fucking yes or no, J2K.
This is not a yes or no answer.
I'm just going to say yes. If we're not going to get into the details, I'm going to leave it at a yes.
Say yes in the position.
Yes in a position?
Yeah.
Yes in defensive tackle. Don't want me to explain?
Yeah, you can explain. Go ahead.
All right.
You got
So
56
really quick,
seconds.
I know we got Billingsley, and I know Walker can play inside at the 3, and we drafted Dexter, and we drafted Pickens. I think that is a good group of rotational guys. I still don't think that we got that Jalen Carter or Draymond Jones, or pick one of the top defensive tackles, 3 techs out there that would really be the engine. Can Dexter be that guy? Can Pickens be that guy? Maybe. But right now, we have just got a bunch of rotational guys. And it won't be until towards the end of the season that the rookies actually start playing as well as they could.
All right. Now give me 60 seconds or
You got it. This is your final say, PJ.
okay. I say we didn't do a good enough job of addressing offensive tackle as a backup. We have Leatherwood and Borum, and I'm not totally happy with those being our only options at backup offensive tackle. I think if one of those starters goes down, we may be in real problems. I think the other parts of the offensive line are pretty solid as far as options goes, but with those 2, I'm concerned.
Just to maybe ease yourself a little bit. First of all, what up, C-Dub? The mate, that fucking wanker, joined us there from the other side of the pond. But as far as the offensive line, don't forget that we signed the 4-year starter from Notre Dame, who was a right guard, and then we got the 6'8", 6'9" Mets from Cincinnati, who was a starter there. Then the Pittsburgh, the nasty right tackle who was out last season because of injury, he was brought in, as well as the big left tackle African kid, developmental. So there are bodies in that position, none that I would say, yes, are starter quality right now, but a lot of development going on in those positions.
All right. Excellent. Well said. Let's wrap this show up, guys. Excellent show. Seriously, thank all of you for joining us in chat tonight. Let's give everybody around here from chat. Who do we got in here, man? We got Leo, we got Cliff, we've got Doug Van Dorn. Thank you, Doug. Walter Besky, thank you for watching.
How's that shoulder, Doug?
Squeegee, Joe Treviso.
What up, Greg?
Who else is in here? We got to go up from earlier.
Swifty, Cortez, Eric Sullivan.
Eric Sullivan, yes. Cortez. Swifty, of course.
Dorn, Joe Treviso.
Mr. Mayhem.
Mr. fucking Mayhem.
Mr. Mayhem.
Cliff.
Got in here. Cliff, of course, my man, Cliff Victoria.
Swifty popped in and brought the boys. Thank you again, gentlemen, everybody, for coming over.
Jeremy Munoz, thank you for joining us, man.
Walter Besky.
Bring the DJ.
Yep,
We got to look, because there was like 3 or 4 names that
Chris Watts.
Right.
Chris Watts, my man.
Great tyranny.
Yes.
Eric Sullivan done a great job in chat tonight.
Eric Sullivan, yes. Thank you guys. Everybody, we love you guys, man. You guys are what makes us go.
I don't know who that Foster Covers is in the chat, but he needs to get out of there.
And then, of course, always got to give a shout out to the Swift Sports Network.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely Swift.
Do not touch the chat anymore, Foster. I need it to not be up while I sign this off. Yes, of course. Thank you to Swifty. Swifty, you are the man, and appreciate you letting us come on your show tonight. Appreciate you coming on in here with us in chat, bringing your crew with you again. Much love, and until next time, guys. We'll see you guys next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And I just got one question for you guys. You down with BCP?
Man, you just messed up my whole vibe watching y'all.
You're too old to have a fucking vibe.
He's going to get his 3-hole punch right now.
Well said.
Awesome guys in the chat. You guys are the fucking best in the chat.
Absolutely, man. Love you guys so much. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends. We'll be here every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on BCP. Until next week, we will see you later. Good night.